BBC Radio Scotland on BBC Sounds or 92 to 95 FM.
Every goal.
What a goal!
Every game.
That is right out of the top drawer.
Every kick of the ball.
It's a terrific finish.
This is Sports Sound
It's absolutely tremendous.
from BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. A big afternoon ahead across the country. We'll bring you all the goal news. We've got reporters at all the top games. Let's then get to Ibrox. Rangers are up against St Johnstone this afternoon, and there for us is Rory Lloyd. Good afternoon to you, Rory. You're underway there. I see. Very interesting, the team selection for Michael Beale today.
Yes, indeed. Afternoon, Kenny. We're underway as the Armed Forces Day kicks off here at Ibrox, and Todd Cantwell ran to every stand he could get to applaud the fans, and they stood up and applauded him. However, the biggest cheer of the day was afforded to Yanis Hadji, who's back from a year out after injury. He takes his place on the bench. Rangers have had all of the ball so far and are playing their normal 4-3-3 formation. St Johnstone are playing 4 at the back. I'd imagine Rangers will have a lot of the ball today. It's just whether they can break down a stubborn St Johnstone defence.
Right, let's get to Paisley underway there. St Mirren against Motherwell. Stephen Craigan is there for us. You're saying the away side of a very, very good record against the Saints.
Well, they do, Kenny. They haven't lost here since May 2015, and I have to say, Motherwell have had to be good away from home this season because their home form has been so poor. But you said it, St Mirren have been terrific at home. I think it's 10 games in the league unbeaten. If you include Dundee last week, it's 11 games all in. So St Mirren certainly enjoyed playing at home, which for me sets it up to be a really interesting game. But Stephen Robinson makes 3 changes from the side last week. Declan Gallagher drops out, as does Kuani Bacchus through suspension, and Juna Ayunga moves to the bench. In comes Ethan Errahon, who I believe has there's been an offer from a League One club in England to try and take him, so that may come out in the coming days. Greg Kilton is into the side, as is Alex Greaves. So Alex Gogic will play as a third centre half instead of Declan Gallagher. For Motherwell, 2 changes from the side that won last weekend up at Arbroath, but many people thought, I think you included yourself on Off the Ball today, where that would be a shock. Thankfully for Motherwell, they did manage to get through. Mikael Mandron did score the 2 goals, but he's not even on the bench today. Misses out through injury. And another recent signing, Ollie Crangshaw, he also is on the bench. So 2 changes in come Kevin Van Veen, Motherwell's top scorer, so that's a bonus. And Connor Shields, who's been linked, I believe, with Queen's Park in the last few days, he starts for Motherwell. So certainly should be a good game, but 0-0 so far.
Thank you to Stephen. All the news on Open All Mics. John Robertson is in Dingwall for us. We heard from the county manager, John Malky Mackay, there. The problem he's got is a lack of goals. Really struggled in front of goal, and actually the lowest points total accumulated since the World Cup break. 4 defeats and 2 draws. He needs to get something on the board today.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he's changed the formation for that. He's gone with a 5-3-2. He's playing Brophy, the new signing, up front with Jordan White. There is no Edward Zuara today, who's been a spark from, and no Kazim Olagbe in the squad either, so there's no real wingers. He's got 3 strikers on the bench, with Alex Samuel being recalled, 2 others on the bench, and the young lad that he mentioned, Josh Stones from Wigan. So it's a change of formation. The width will come from Randall and Harman, and Kilmarnock have got their new signing, Kyle Vassell, up front on his own, and they're playing in a 4-1 formation.
Thank you, John. The first goal of the day has got in Scotland. It's in League One. Airdrie 1, Alloa 0. Callum Fordyce in the 2nd minute there. Alan Preston is on Open All Mics duty at Easter Road. Alan, just interested, I saw a picture there, some of the Aberdeen fans with the banner up, Goodwin out. What sort of travelling support have they got there today?
Magnificent, absolutely magnificent. Must be 1,700 there in the bottom tier. Really good, as you always expect from Aberdeen. Yeah, they're a well supported club, but they need to get themselves sorted out, and they've had the better of the possession in this open couple of minutes here at Easter Road, but the pressure's on, and they've got to get a result today. But equally Hibs do as well. See, for both clubs, the front of the shop looks great, but behind it's absolute chaos at both clubs, and it needs to be sorted.
Yeah, both these clubs desperately in need of something this afternoon at Easter Road. Big game in the Championship today. Dundee against Queen's Park. The leaders away from home there. Stuart Kettlewell, who's in front there in the early stages, who's in top?
we're just settling into this one, Kenny. We were a couple of minutes behind, so we're only 2 minutes into the game as it stands. I did mention at the top of the show that the pitch wasn't great, but credit to both teams. They're trying to pass the ball just now. Queen's Park in the ascendancy just at the minute as they flash one across the box, but I think this is a very evenly matched game, Kenny. Queen's Park, the surprise package, and it's going to be interesting to see how they come here to Dens Park and see if they can lay down a real marker.
Another goal is going to, it's a shock in League One. Clyde 1, the leaders Dunfermline 0. Martin Rennie on 4 minutes there, staying in the championship. Firhill Partick Thistle against Hamilton Accies there for us. Amy Canavan, good afternoon, Amy.
Good afternoon, Kenny. We're just in the early stages here as well, a few minutes behind like Stuart, and it's back to league business for both these sides. And Partick Thistle have started slightly the brighter Danny Mullen and Aidan Fitzpatrick, really looking quite influential down this right hand side. Yep. I'll let you go to that goal.
Yeah, sorry Amy to cut in on you, but it's a goal for Greenock Morton, and it's new shitty signing George Oakley. It was just, I mean, it's been all abroad the first 2-3 minutes. It's the first time Morton have got up the park. It's a decent ball into the back post here. Calvin Miller nods it back across goal, and there's Oakley just a couple of yards out, just gets in front of the goalkeeper, nicks into the back of the net, so and then you can hear across the tannoy, big George Oakley. I tell you what, Kenny, this is a big old side abroad they've got out today.
Yeah.
Oh, they're big, they're powerful, you know. This is a small, tight park here, so I'm not expecting we're off to a great start. We've got the goal, obviously, but I'm not expecting a thing of beauty. I think this is going to be really physical, because certainly Morton don't shirk away from it. But advantage Morton at the moment as they go 1-0 up.
Big chance for Morelos, Kenny.
Yep.
Johnson really cheated possession at the back. They give the ball away to Tillman. He plays it into Morelos, and it's one you'd expect him to be finished, to be honest. Remy Matthew doesn't need to do a lot to keep the ball out. Goes for a corner, but Rangers should be one up.
Let's get to Starts Park. Chris Doolan is there for us. Wraith Rovers against Inverness Cally Thistle. Chris, what are you expecting this afternoon?
Afternoon, Kenny. Probably expecting a really good game here. Both teams pass the ball, and that's how it started in the opening 5 or 6 minutes. To be fair, Wraith Rovers have dominated possession, but Inverness still look very, very dangerous. Aaron Doran up supporting Billy Mackay, who we know can get there's a chance. Oh, it's off the bar. A fantastic ball into the box. Oh, it's just been cleared. A ball came in the box to the right hand side. I think it's Jamie Gullen gets up above everybody and gets his head on it and clatters one off the bar. Ridgers was rooted to the spot, and they've managed to clear the ball now, but it's still 0-0 here at Starts Park.
So an early chance there for Wraith Rovers. Tom English, it's such an exciting day, isn't it? I mean, who knows what talking points we'll have come 5 o'clock.
McGeady shot there, Kenny, sorry, from about 30 yards, just over the top of the crossbar. First real sign of goal Hibs have had. 6 minutes on the clock, 0-0.
Penalty! Yep. Kenny will get a penalty at Dens Park. It's for the home side, it's for Dundee. Excellent play from Paul McMullen. Dribbled into the box, as we know he does. Low centre of gravity, and he's hacked down in the box. No disputing that one. I'll keep you up to speed with the taker and the outcome of the penalty.
Good stuff, thanks, Stuart.
Yeah, on other days we'd spend half the first hour talking about VAR, or if we weren't talking about VAR, we'd be talking about Rangers. But today, and you know, on another day, we'd be talking about 12th versus 11th, Ross County versus Killy. But obviously, the first hour dominated by the events at Easter Road, and understandably, it is intriguing. No goals yet, but in the top flight, but interesting.
Tom, just a quick one for you on that. I mean, just looking at the stats earlier on as you're coming to the game today. 8 starters for Hibs against Livingston and Celtic. Well, Jack Ross brought them in. Hibs had a recruitment of 16 players in the summer, and for it to still be 8 starters from when Jack Ross was here is incredible. It shows you how poor the recruitment has been.
Yeah, the recruitment has been awful.
Well, what it shows there as well, Tom, is that, and I said it enough at the time, that's when Hibs actually looked like they had an identity and knew what they were trying to do. The strategy was bringing in the likes of, Nisbet, and they had young Porches in the team at the time as well. They've looked at bringing in the likes of Dylan Tate and Daniel Mackay. Now, they've not totally worked. Kyle McGuinness came in as well, but you could see what they were trying to do. There was a method to what they were trying to do. Now it's just scattergun, and I'll guarantee you, young Daniel Mackay and Dylan Tate, who, by the way, the two of them, I think, understandable why they went after them. I'll guarantee you they cost a hell of a lot less than the amount is spent on the plethora of players that have been brought in.
I'll speak to that team now. Stuart, what's happening there at Dens?
Kenny, sorry, you held jump back in again. The worst penalty miss you're going to see probably this season. Paul McMullen himself stepped up to take the penalty. He went side-footed, and goalkeeper Callum Ferry just stood centre goal, gathered it as easy as you like, but Dundee are piling on the pressure. Kenny, they're asking a few questions at this backline of Queen's Park, but it's still 0-0 at Dens.
One of the problems is we go back to Hibs. Ron Gordon, he gets rid of Jack Ross, and then he looks back months later and says, in hindsight, maybe I acted hastily. Then he says, maybe I acted hastily in appointing Sean Maloney. He gets rid of Sean Maloney. Now he brings in Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson's record, I'm just look at the stats, but I can't imagine it's any better.
There's a chance for Hibs coming to Cadden! Off the line! Good play, great play by Newell on the left hand side. He pulls it back. I think it's Cadden has the shot. It seems to hit Scales on the line, and the ball's away, cleared away. Good chance for Hibs.
Newell does excellently well, doesn't Ellen? But there was no clear option inside the box. There was nobody screaming out. Cadden arrived late at the back post. A number of bodies to get through right enough, and the surface doesn't look great as it comes across. I think your only thought is do not sky it over the bar.
See, in terms of Hibs, Michael, I know what you're saying about the recruitment, but see the team that beat Motherwell a couple of Sundays ago, and I look at that: McGeady, Nisbet, Ewan, McGuinness, Newell, Campbell, Stevenson, Portes, Bashiri, Cadden, Marshall. That's a decent looking side, is it not?
Yeah, but go back to what we were just talking about there. Johan, for me, no. Zero end product. McGeady, as I said to you, I think everybody recognises that was a sensible signing, but not one you could hang your hat on because of the age he is. Marshall likewise. The rest of them were already at the club.
Surely! Goal! For Hibs, and Michael, you're talking about Johan. He's brilliant on the left hand side, cuts inside, hold on, whips it in. It's a shot. Lewis pans it in.
Absolutely tremendous.
And there is Campbell, I think, at the back post to knock it home. Great start for Hibs, 1-0, 10 minutes the clock.
Alan, you do realise we've got the pictures coming in here. Joe, I mean, not to say that he did badly.
There is a delay.
Not David Marshall, Joe Lewis could have thrown his hat on that. I've got to say,
Leanne.
It's a shot on target. If you're looking for an end product, at times you're clutching at straws. But he comes in on his right side, gets a shot off, as Michael describes. I think Joe Lewis, when he sees it back, is going to be really disappointed. And Campbell does what you want players to do. He arrives, he picks up the second ball, and he knocks it home. Huge goal in this game.
Yeah, just seeing Tom, the pictures coming in, Jim Goodwin on the touchline there, and I could see the Aberdeen fans gesturing over. This is going to be a horrendous afternoon for him. The pressure that man's on. I just wonder that statement. Albeit he's delighted to get the opportunity, but was it fair, that statement? There was no backing of the manager.
Well, why would you? I think the fact that he's still in the job means he's fortunate. So, there was three options there. They could have sacked him. They could have issued we back our manager, which would have gone down like a lead balloon with the fans, or they could have done the halfway house kind of wishy-washy thing that they did. Now,
goal, Dingwall!
Take it away, John.
It's a goal in Dingwall. It's on the home side, and it's new signing Eamon Brophy.
Wow.
Kilmarnock lost the ball at the halfway line. Ross County broke an arm, and it's the two new signings who combined. It was Noah Kenny who rolled it across the goals. It was missed by the Kilmarnock defender, and there was Eamon Brophy doing what Eamon Brophy does and smashing it home from 6 yards. It's Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0.
He won't score an easier goal, John. No. Unmarked inside the penalty area, just peels off at the back post.
Could the Kilmarnock defender have cleared it?
Just getting a look at
penalty
it just now.
at Ibrox, difficult one to see. It comes into the box. It's one of those handball ones. Need to take a closer look at it, Leanne and Michael, to get your thoughts on it. It looked harsh for me for first viewing, but it happened so quickly.
I can see Michael's reaction, but we'll get Leanne to have a look at it first. Michael's hands are in the air, I can tell you. That won't surprise you guys. It's VAR.
If you've seen it, Michael, jump in.
Well, my hands are in the air, which is probably not what was going on at Ibrox.
They're in a natural position.
We're waiting for the pictures to come in. We'll get a look at it as soon as we can see it.
I mean, I just watched the initial, play being played out. The ball came into the box. There's a number of players there, and the penalty is given. I mean, for what? No.
Here we go.
Here we go. Now we're getting the pictures now.
Tell you what, there's not happy here. Duke goes down as he does. And
again,
Marshall is out, not happy at all, saying that he's diving, and rightly so. It's a shocker for Duke.
Right, we'll get a look at that, Alan. We'll
Collins
see
just
Chris
blown his
Cadden
whistle.
protesting.
Tavernier steps up. Goal for Rangers. Fantastic penalty. Remy Matthews, no chance to his right hand side. Looks like it hits the side netting. 1-0 to Rangers.
For me, it's another. Not that I want to be agreeing with Michael all the time, but that's a terrible decision.
Yeah, it's come off another player. I'm not sure who the player is that actually.
I think it was Tavernier. I think it maybe.
I'm told the referees last week at
James
Celtic
Brown.
Park were told to get that decision categorically wrong.
Yeah.
Say that again, sorry?
I'm told the refereeing team at Celtic Park last week for the penalty were told to get that
It's one
decision
of those ones as
categorically
well,
wrong.
Well, that's a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, just the same as the Matt O'Reilly and others.
I didn't hear any fans at all claim
when does
for
it
it.
stop becoming teething problems? How long do we give that?
Well, there's a list. I know the Matt O'Reilly one, they were told that should not have been given. The Michael Smith one at Tynecastle, I'm told, should have gone to VAR. A penalty should have been awarded.
Which should no, that's the one that actually got right. And I've heard officials talking about this as well, saying no, that was wrong.
They didn't look at the angle
They
behind
didn't
the
look
goal.
at all the angles.
Yeah.
I don't care how many angles you look at. Michael Smith's arm is in completely the position you'd expect.
Right, Leanne, that penalty at Ibrox, what are your thoughts?
It was James Brown, by the way.
It's harsh. It comes off the arm of James Brown. For me, it's coming through bodies. It looks to me like it takes a deflection. He doesn't have any time to adjust. His arm is half up, half down, in a position that you would expect as you're probably holding off a player and inside the penalty area.
Crazy.
But in comparison to some that we've seen, if you want to call it an unnatural position, it's possibly as close to that. But I would be clutching. It's really, really harsh.
What a brilliant goal that is!
Oh, my
wow.
Oh,
2-0 to Hibs. Just try to see who it is.
Josh
It's right-
Campbell.
Right, Campbell again. It's right off the training ground. It's played to the edge of the box, pinged out, and that's a header from about 12, 13 yards into the back of the net. What a goal! Brilliant stuff. Aberdeen fans, as you can imagine, not happy. Fantastic start for Hibs. 2-0.
You can say what a goal, Alan, but
That's St Mirren against Motherwell. I've got to say, sorry for jumping in, wonderful play down the right hand side. Ryan Strain, he attracted two players to him, had a little reverse nutmeg through. I think it may have been Paul McGinn. I think Craig Kilty makes a run beyond them, whips the ball near post. Ricky Lamy standing on his heels. Curtis Main just nicks in front of him, puts it into the back of the net, right in front of the away fans. In a game that was really to and fro, a great view so far, and it's St Mirren that have the lead. Could they make it 11 league games without defeat here in Paisley? As it stands, they're going that way.
We've got Aberdeen fans leaving the ground. We've played 15 minutes at Easter Road. They're 2-0 down. And fans are leaving.
I mean,
I've had enough.
I know these
And
these
so is
fans,
Jim Goodwin.
do you think that's it, isn't it?
Well, if it stays 2-0 and Aberdeen have been terrible, Hibs have been very good, very clinical with their chances, really good attitude about them. Aberdeen have been so vulnerable at the back, but no, insert own word here, Sherlock. They're been terrible at the back for the longest time.
Kenny, the statement for Aberdeen, obviously chairman, I think it's ridiculous because it gives the players an excuse as well. And sometimes players look for excuses. I've been one myself, and
I'm not sure these Aberdeen players need an excuse, let's be honest.
Yeah, I know, but
you know what I mean?
with that statement, I mean, if you've gone to back your manager, you don't need to come out and make a statement. Just leave it as it is, and if you are, just say we're fully behind Jim. We're going to give him all the support with me. Don't need it. Then they just put it on to the players, put it on to Jim, the pressure, which has been mounting, and with that statement, I just think it's ramped up the pressure.
That was my point. What was it unfair, despite the chance?
I think so.
Despite he'll be delighted to have another opportunity to get it. But
I just think it was poor. And but then I was thinking, and I mean, take this on board. Is it buying the chairman a little bit of time to go and maybe kind of dabble about and find out what's going on out there? Is there any guys that maybe could get in and I just thought he hung him out to dry.
I think they've given him a chance. They had to give him a verbal slap because the supporters absolutely demanded it. They demanded worse. But the least that Dave Cormack had to do, if he's going to back him in inverted commas, is to send a message to the fans that he's not happy. So I think Jim Goodwin has been fortunate to get this far. But you look at, now I'm looking at the team here and I'm thinking, right, is this down to players downing tools, or is it just the fact that the players are nowhere near good enough? And I think it's the latter. I think they're probably trying here, But they're just
not very good.
Defensively, they're just wretched.
I just even look at the way that they move the ball as a team, Tom. It doesn't look to me like they know what they're trying to do when they get the ball. It's players making it up, and I think at the point you start to make it up, which is probably the common theme just now at Aberdeen, there's a lot of people making it up as they go along.
What hope have you got as a manager when these players know what's in the line for the manager here? The embarrassment on Monday night, and you see a start like this.
Yeah.
What hope have you got?
But I think, and if you set your team up today, if you at least keep a clean sheet, you've always got a hope that you can win a game. They've got goal scorers in their team, but we've touched on it. Defensively, they're so soft. They don't have the players in the right areas. They don't have leadership in the right areas. The goalkeeping situation is an issue. I'm not sure that Joe Lewis is up to speed. He's been frozen out for so long. He comes in, he concedes 5 against Hearts. He's in goals for the defeat to Darvel. What's going through his mind with a group of players in front?
Leanne, can I jump in on that as well? Something I've been thinking about. That's never been a Jim Goodwin team. When you look at him at Alloa and you look at him at St Mirren, that was never his teams. That was never his identity. So is it being confused with the statement? Kenny, I'm thinking about the statement from Dave Cormack way back when Glass came in and they speak about this open, expansive football. It doesn't merge. There's no synergy there with what the manager's been in the past and his success and what the football club want to be. That's the bit that really, really amazes me.
Yeah,
I wonder how the football monitoring board are feeling right now. A football monitoring board, with the exception of Willie Gardner, not really much about it.
They won't want to be monitoring this.
No.
Are you monitoring Willie Miller? He's in commentary duty. Can you see him, Alan?
He's right in front of me. It's magnificent, honestly.
How's he looking?
I'm on his shoulder.
Okay?
Not looking great. He's fine, honestly.
Kenny, can I just say
he's all right?
Kenny, can I just say we have a VAR check here at St Mirren?
Right, thanks, Stephen.
For a potential penalty at Motherwell, the guys should have gone have a little look.
Right,
Don't Willie, if it goes wrong, we can come back to mine and we can put the Cup Winners' Cup DVD on. I've told them. I've got the biscuits in.
He looked thoroughly miserable, you'd have to say, quite rightly so, on Monday night. Just some goals going in across Scotland. Montrose have equalised against Celtic Hearts. Rory McAllister in 17 minutes, that's one apiece. Airdrie now 2-0 up at home to Alloa. Calvin Gallagher on 18 minutes with the goal there. Dumbarton 1-0 up at home to Bonnyrigg Rose. Greg Wild on 15 minutes. And Montrose are now 2-1 up. McAllister again, a quick fire double. 2-1 up against Celtic Hearts. A chance there?
Yes, indeed. Alfredo Morelos was put through on goal by, I think it was Kamara. He's run through on goal. I'm expecting the flag to go up. Again, he should score. It should go in the back of the net. This time Remy Matthews makes himself big and makes the save, but Alfredo Morelos should have 2 goals already in this game.
That check's going over very quickly, Leanne, hasn't it? Just a quick look. So I'll go through the scores for you. So Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0, Rangers 1, St Johnstone 0, Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0, St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0. Into the Championship, Dundee 0, Queen's Park 0. Dundee missing a penalty there. Morton 1, Arbroath 0, Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Wraith Rovers 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 0. Into League 1, Airdrie 2, Alloa 0, Clyde 1, Dunfermline 0, FC Edinburgh 0, Falkirk 0, Montrose 2, Celtic Hearts 1, Peterhead 0, Queen of the South 0. And in League 2, Albion Rovers 0, Forfar 0, Annan Athletic 0, East Fife 0, Dumbarton 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Sennismuir 0, Elgin City 0, and Stirling Albion 0, Stranraer 0. Guys, I want you to know a wee thing. We'll come to this in a few minutes. I'm sure you all saw the Davy Martindale rant. The half-time scary rant at Stenhousemuir last week. So I want you to know a wee think. The scariest, the worst rant you guys have ever witnessed in a dressing room. So we'll kick off with Leanne in a few minutes time and we'll go round our guys out and about. I'm sure there'll be some good stories. It's a pity actually because Michael has just left the studios one for Sports Team tonight. I'm sure he would have been on the receiving end of plenty of rants throughout the years. Let's then get to Rory Loy. Rangers very much in control there, Rory.
Yes, very much so. It's all Rangers, I must say, and it's an interesting one. You know, the right hand side in the top end of the pitch has been a position Rangers have been trying to fill for quite some time now. You know, Arfield and Tillman and Sakala, amongst the many others, have tried to fill it and not really been their position. Cantwell and Kent have started the game really well, picking up good positions. And the interchange of movements and the options it gives them, and it makes it really difficult for St Johnstone to pick them up. Kent's been electric at times when he picks the ball up, played a big part in the lead up to the corner that led to the goal, and Rangers looking really fluid when they go forward. St Johnstone, they're struggling at times, they haven't been up to much. Nicky Clark's won a few headers, but Rangers deservedly won up, even though by my reckoning it probably wasn't deserved, the penalty.
I mean, just looking at the Hibs Aberdeen game, and as much as we're concentrating on Aberdeen's pitiful plight, Hibs are playing really good stuff here.
Brilliant.
They've been really, aren't they, Alan? They're
Yeah.
knocking it around like a very, very confident team.
You know what it's like? This is like a cup tie. Hibs versus a lower league side, and that's not me being disrespectful to Aberdeen, but that's what it looks like at the moment. Hibs are toying with them. They're just toying with Aberdeen.
And this is a poor Hibs side at the moment, isn't it? A Hibs side lacking in confidence, Alan.
Yeah, it's a Hibs side it is, but I mean, I think Lee John, if they win today and then they can win Tuesday, they could go fourth. It's incredible.
That tells you something about the state of the league outside of the top three, though, I think.
Yeah.
Right, let's then get to John Robertson, the home side. Badly needed a result today. They're on track so far, John.
And they're absolutely all over Kilmarnock at the moment. It's one-way traffic. Said Brophy had a snapshot just wide, but he opened the scoring in 12 minutes. And then they've had three chances, and Harman shot over, then Harman had a shot straight at the keeper, and just as you joined us there, the ball dropped for Iacovetti, and he smashed it over the bar from about 8 yards. It's all Ross County at the moment. They really look up for it. This new shape, 5-3-2, seems to suit them at the moment, with White and Brophy causing a lot of problems, but they're complete control against Kilmarnock so far.
Kenny, I've just had another look at the handball at Ibrox. Brown's arm is pretty high, and the ball clearly comes off it. So for me, it probably in this day and age, it's the right call.
Did you deliberately wait to say that when Michael had left the studio?
Well, it sets it up lovely when he disagrees tonight on Sports Scene, so it just keeps the debate going. It would be a boring show if we all said the same thing.
Absolutely agree with that.
And we don't want to say too many times that we agree with Michael, because then we all lose credibility.
Yeah, we have. Initially, I didn't think it was a penalty.
No, in first viewing, I think.
First viewing.
I think what makes it harsh, Tom, is that Connor Goldson goes to flick the head on, and he crouches down in front of Brown, and he misses the contact. So I think Brown's anticipating that he's maybe going to need to clear it with the head, but his arm's up.
His arm is up
and out at the side of his body.
Up and out, and it comes at him from a yard off Goldson's head.
It's tough to react, that's the thing. When your arm's there and you're in a position that you naturally think you're going to be able to affect the ball. And
Leanne,
anyway.
I tried to say at the time, but get drowned out a little bit.
No way, Rory, you get drowned out in sports. You're joking.
It was one of those ones. McPherson's giving the ball away here. Kent's. Morelos can't quite take it. He's looked decent, Morelos, actually, away from his two chances. He's looked sharp in and around the ball at his feet. It's one of those ones. He blows pretty quickly, but there's no real reaction for a penalty. It's one of those ones where Willie Collum just points to the spot, and because there's VAR now, the players don't really gather round him or anything, but it certainly looked a surprise here at the pitch. I don't think any of the fans shouted for it either, but if you've seen the pictures back and it is looking a penalty, then...
To be fair, Brown is surprised, I think, that it comes off him, because the ball comes in from Barisic, Goldson goes to flick the ball on it. I'm not sure he even gets much contact on it, if any, and it then hits Brown on the way through, but his arms are, as I say, outstretched.
Chance for Nicky Clark, and he's done very, very well. Just unlucky not to guide it on target. Comes out to Hallberg on the right hand side. Barisic doesn't get tight enough. He whips a good ball in, and Clark gets across the face of, I think it's Goldson, and tries to guide it with the instep into the far corner, just over the bar. It's still Rangers 1, St Johnstone 0.
And Stephen, the home side still on top there at St Mirren Park. It was interesting reading the comments from Stephen Robinson this week, talking about the financial issues at the club, the effect that's having on his squad. He said, I didn't want to lose him in Brophy. He hasn't been a regular starter, but he's been putting pressure on those that have been starting, and we've seen the qualities, but he's been out for a while, but the quality on the score sheet up in Dingwall this afternoon.
Kenny, I agree with that, but he wasn't playing at St Mirren. Alex Grieve was ahead of him, Curtis Main was ahead of him, and Jonathan Yungu was ahead of him. So when you have a player on the bench who I would imagine is earning a very good salary, it clearly makes financial sense to try and move him on. But I have to say, I think the recurring words this afternoon have been leadership and identity, and I look at St Mirren and they've got both. They don't complicate the game, they keep it simple. When it's on to play forward, they play forward. When it's on to cross it into the opposition box, they do that. They don't complicate the game. Stephen Robinson knows that with players. Do what you have to do and work with the players.
Look at this challenge. It's a really bad challenge by Johnny Hayes. Really poor. It's on Diego. He holds his hand up straight away.
Could it be a red card check?
Nah,
the yellow is out.
Yellow, I would think, but you have a look at.
Yeah, waiting for the pictures. Just seen pictures of
Wraith Rovers.
Take
it away.
Fantastic. It's a long ball. It's the first long ball that Wraith Rovers have actually played all day. They don't have the physicality up front to play these long balls, but they've thrown a long ball forward. Danny Devine gets caught under the ball. He can't clear his header too far. It lands at that man Lewis Vaughan from 25 yards out, and he hits it on a half volley, and it dips into the bottom corner of Ridger's right hand post. 1-0 Wraith Rovers.
Yeah, nothing against Inverness Caliph. I think we love to see Lewis Vaughan in the score sheet. What a story he has had. Yes,
Rangers are playing some magnificent stuff here, I must say. Ryan Jack pinged a beautiful ball out to Tillman just before there. He cut it back. Cantwell dummied it, stepped over it. Kent arrived right on cue. One of those ones where you're possibly looking for Kent to do a little bit better. It is quite far out, but a wonderful move, and it's a good save by Remy Matthew. And in the aftermath of that, Rangers have won a free kick about 25-30 yards out that Borna Barisic looks like he's lining up to take.
Alan, he's on Jago, right decision, yellow card.
Nearly an equaliser here for Kilmarnock. Jordan Jones smashed one across the face of goal. It looks like it's hit Scott Robinson. I think it's went inches past the post. It's the first Killie threat after half an hour.
Yeah, he's on the score sheet last weekend. Derek Ferguson, interesting hearing Rory talking about how well Rangers are playing.
Yeah, I'm glad he's enjoying some silky football because the ball here is just getting blittered up and down the park.
What have you made, Derek, of Rangers under Beale? It was interesting to hear him talking about
Patchy.
Cantwell, almost in a free role. He was saying it doesn't seem to be as rigid as when Bronckhorst was as a manager.
No, but I still think overall the performances, it's been good in spells, but I mean, Michael Beale keeps talking about having control of the game. I've not quite witnessed that myself. Yes, in patches, and they've been good, and that's the one thing I like the way you give obviously Cantwell's got it today, but Sakala, Kent, that little bit more freedom to go and express yourself. I think that is important. So
that's been really evident today, Derek.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Rory, because by the way, and I tell you what, thank God we've not got VAR, because some of the tackles in this game, they're brilliant. So a wee bit of throwback, and fair play to the referee, Mike Roncon. He's letting a few of them go, but
you would have been in your element.
Game. Oh, I don't know. I tell you what, there's some big lads out there. They just threw me a bit like a rag doll.
I mean, there's been a lot of chat about St Mirren's finances and their 1.6 million loss, and wages to turnover really kind of worryingly high. That said, I mean, a lot of the 1.6 I think is a government loan, which is repayable 0 interest over a large number of years. They've also got, I think they've got close to $1 million in the bank. They've got sellable assets. Now, I know they don't want to sell them, but because of good recruitment, they've got sellable assets in Bacchus to get a good few quid for him, World Cup player.
Sean, I think a few players will actually leave in the next couple of days. That's what I've been able to understand.
Oh, what a tackle that is! Really good play by Shinnie. It's Campbell that gets back to get the tackle in there.
So
brilliant play.
So while the headline figure 1.6 million is bad and it's concerning, I think there are other things in play. There's more nuances to this. Right,
give us your managerial rant. The Davy Martindale one was sensational as recorded by somebody. Hope they never get found out.
Busman's holiday when you've worked under Jim McLean. That's a tea party.
Right, Leanne, you kick us off.
I don't think that I've been privy to too many, to be honest. I think when Eddie Walecki Black was at Glasgow City, he had the ability to come in, and if the standards, the squad that we had back then was top drawer. So if it was anything below par at half time, he would go absolutely off in one. And there was one I remember, I think we were at Airdrie or Broadwood possibly, and the board went, the markers went, and one of the pens landed right next to me, and you know that way you almost think about reacting, and then you just think, no, it's not. This is not the moment. This is not the moment to fire back. Just take it in. But no, I think the women's game's probably. I don't think that you need that a lot of the time, but I do enjoy watching the hairdryer treatment elsewhere.
Well, there's one that Mark McGee speaks about with Alex Ferguson in the heyday when Alex Ferguson came in and he absolutely the full hairdryer, and he kicked over a laundry basket, and a pair of underpants flew through the air and landed on McGee's head, and he just sat there with the because he was afraid to move.
Well, there must be so many.
Well, there's another one.
We've got something similar to him, and Jim McLean put his foot through one of the baskets as well and couldn't get it off his foot and was flicking it to get it off, and it wouldn't come off.
Was he your worst, Alan?
Unbelievable. You would win games and he would go mad. Honestly, that's the truth. It's just
sorry to come in, Rory. Ryan Jack looks in a lot of discomfort at Ibrox.
It was a crunching tackle.
Yeah, Nicky Clark it was.
Yeah, in the middle of the pitch, and he's rolling around in pain. And when it's Ryan Jack, you have that little heart and mouth. Oh, it's a red card. Oof. Oh, he sent him off. Which
it's gone to a check. Nicky Clark had gone into the challenge.
It didn't even come up that there was a check. Literally nothing was communicated, and the crowd now have just kind of all took a big shot and take a breath.
But Nicky Clark's on the ground where he almost reacts. I'll need to get a better look at it. Just now we're seeing I think there was another penalty claim. Morelos hit a shot.
Yeah, that's never a penalty.
No,
it hit his arm a million miles an hour, and it was very, very close.
Hoping we get another replay. This one on Clark.
I mean, it was a crunching tackle, but I didn't see a red card.
I think it's possibly the point of contact is what they will have looked at. As I say, Clark, I think it's at mid-shin. He catches Ryan Jack.
Here it's potentially correct. They are checking it just now.
Yeah.
Normally they would put it up before the red card's dished out, but there's a bit of a nothing incident, or didn't look like there was much in it at the time. But
I've just seen the treatment. I'll come back to you, Rory, if I get more pictures of it.
Yeah.
But certainly, if he catches him mid-shin where he is, he's kind of... It's a right sore one. You know what it's like if you're a player in that type of position.
Clark's not particularly happy. None of the players ran to Willie Collum and were remonstrating and demanding a red card. Nothing along those lines whatsoever. So, I mean...
Sorry, Roy, who's been sent off? Nicky Clark. It's just because you were mentioned Ryan Kent. I was trying to work out who was going to be sent off, so it's Nicky Clark. Okay.
We've just seen a replay, guys. I mean, Leanne, it was a very quick replay, but...
I know. It's the point of contact, I know that what the referees will have looked at, VAR will have looked at. I don't think there's a lot of intent from Nicky Clark. He gets it wrong.
Normally with those ones, players rush to the defence of the player and make sure. And Ryan Jack rolled around on the ground for a little while. Everyone stood still.
Sometimes you can see it, Rory, and I know the angle that we're getting is kind of side on. Hopefully we maybe get another picture of it that shows us it.
Suggestion this is above the knee.
Above the knee?
Yeah, that's the suggestion, that it's above the knee.
If that's the case, absolutely perplexed.
It's the right decision. If he's caught him that high.
Here we go.
Different angle of it here.
Right, here we are.
Slow-mo, Clark. Yeah.
Our screen, I have to say, our screen just went black there
he
right
goes
at the
to ground.
moment.
Clark goes to ground, slips in with the right foot, then follows through with the left, and as he lunges to play the ball,
Callum Davidson has just
him.
launched a water bottle at one of the advertising hoardings, and Willie Collins now coming across to speak to him.
I think when you look at things like force, intent, endangering the opponent, I don't know if it's taken an awful lot of them other than the height of the challenge.
But you're saying that, obviously I didn't think there was much in it at the time. You're saying Ryan Jack was on the deck. Oh, he's been booked. Callum Davidson's been booked.
Yeah. It looks as if the studs in the point of contact's in the knee. Look, tune into Sports Scene tonight if you want to debate it and you want to look at it.
And an Athletic 1, East 5-0. Chris Johnson with the goal there on 35 minutes. So real controversy there. At Ibrox.
Looks. To be honest, I think it looks like a correct decision.
Yeah. It looked high.
It looked high. It's just too high.
Right, Rory, give us your managerial rant.
Ryan Jack's just flew into a challenge there. Obviously looking for retribution as he's not happy. The yellow's been flashed. St Johnstone players lying on the ground, and now all the players are starting to kick off. And I cannot imagine that Callum Davidson will be too happy that it's just a yellow card. Don't know if he'll get a chance to see it again, but absolutely.
He's gone with the right foot.
He's seen the red mist there because he was angry at the previous challenge, I think.
I know, which...
But don't football players drive you mad when, the opposition's had a player sent off, and the first thing you do after that is fly into a tackle and potentially give the referee a chance to send you off. That's when you need your calmness and composure.
Yeah.
Studs are showing, probably the point of contact looks as if it's on the foot, certainly not above the ankle.
Yellow card for that.
Yellow card.
Yeah.
There's a bit of badness in this game.
Yeah, there is. Out of nowhere. St Johnstone haven't been in the game at all, Tom. And they're going to struggle even more now. Nicky Clark was actually their best player simply because he was able to win a flick on or two and hold the ball up a couple of times, but he's now off the pitch, and St Johnstone are really up against it. It's going to be one-way traffic. To answer your question, Kenny, I don't know whether it was just because I was young and an apprentice at the time, but Jim Jeffries could dish out a dressing down or two. But the one that I remember personally was a game when I played down south under Greg Abbott, who was an English manager, and I felt I should have been starting. I'd been playing well when he went with a different shape that day, and when you play with Carlisle you travel a long distance, so to not be playing is never good. And I remember my body language when I came on wasn't particularly great, and I gave the game away that I wasn't particularly happy. And just put it this way, his team talk at the end started with me, and it started with "you huffy Scottish."
I'm sure there are a few stories. We'll get around the other guys. Let's go around the grounds and get an update. John Robertson, what's happening in Dingwall?
Yeah, Kilmarnock are trying to get back into the game.
Checking possible red card.
Lots of chances earlier on for Ross County, but they had a free kick in a brilliant position. Certainly the goal smashed over the bar.
Sorry to come in here, John.
He's at the screen, Willie
going
Cole.
to be interesting because we've yet to see a referee
again, though, Leanne, what's
make a decision that VAR haven't suggested that they go and look at.
Why is everyone standing
VAR
around?
Are clearly saying it's a red card check.
Why does it take so long for that message to come up?
That was a long time.
Like, why did they? He's on the ground for a good. I mean, what's that been? 3, 4, 5 minutes? I mean, it's ridiculous that it takes that long.
Yeah.
And it was the same with the red card previously. No one did.
Is it that they wait until the treatment's over for the player? Is that the protocol that they follow?
They can still put the message up on the screen.
No, I just don't
But
think
even
that
the first one, they waited till he gave the red card, then checked it.
difficult to see.
Does anybody
Certainly
think Morton would have got that penalty last week if it was another?
Oh, that was
Other way?
ridiculous.
That's the worst one yet. That's the worst
up it.
penalty yet.
I'll tell you what, the Ryan Jack one for me.
Oh, what a chance.
Probably worse as you see it.
That looks red. It does get, every time you see it, it looks...
He's played on a world's first.
Wow, that is the first time.
That is,
Well, I
I
suggested last week that they may take a referee to the screen with the intention of maybe saying play on, just to ease the pressure on them. But let's give them credit. Let's not be too cynical here and say credit to Willie Collum if that was a yellow card.
If that's the right decision.
Kenny, all programmes are recorded, and I said when VAR would start, Willie Collum would be the first to not change his mind. There's a certainty it's got to be Willie Collum.
Of course.
We'd need to see that one again. Dunfermline have equalised away to Clyde. Joshua Edwards on 39 minutes, one apiece in that game. John Roberts, you were saying that still tight up there in Dingwall.
It's tight. It was all Ross County for the first 25 minutes, but the last 15 minutes or so, Killie have come into it. They had a free kick 22 yards out, right in the middle of the goal. Vassell smashed it miles over the bar. Then a Robinson cross was deflected, Jones cross deflected just by Robinson. Then Jones had another strike just wide, and then just there, their best chance, the 40th minute, a brilliant free kick to Ash Taylor, clear header 8 yards out and headed it past. Still County 1, Killie 0.
Still 1-0 at the scoreline in Paisley, Stephen.
It is indeed, Kenny, and it's Motherwell just being Motherwell how they've been over the past 5 or 6 months. They're decent on the eye, they move the ball well, but they lack a little cutting edge, they lack a bit of punch. I said earlier about leadership and soft centre. Motherwell possibly have that. They don't have a player on the pitch who can grab players and demand, and they don't have a tough tackler who sets the tone. They're all nice footballers who want to pass the ball and kind of get around the edge of the game, whereas St Mirren are streetwise, they know how to win. Stephen Robinson has them really well coached, and I also look at the body language of both managers. Stevie Hamill's head's down, his hands in his pocket. Stephen Robinson's bobbing about his technical area, he's pointing to his players, he's wanting the ball switched, he's demanding they get up, he's asking them to drop off. So I think that sometimes relates onto the pitch, and certainly Stephen Robinson's getting more from his players than what Stephen Hamill is at this moment in time. But yeah, still 1-0 to the home side.
He's done a great job. Let's get back into the Championship. Let's get to Firhill. Partick Thistle against Hamilton Accies. Thistle just in the playoff spots as things stand. What's happening there, Amy Canavan?
Yeah, it's been all Partick Thistle, Kenny. They've been really, really lively. Again, Aidan Fitzpatrick's on the ball right now, and he has been the player of the match so far. He's been creating everything, been really, really influential down this right-hand side. In the last 5-6 minutes or so, there's been 3 huge cries of penalties from the home fans. I think maybe one they've maybe got a slight in and on, but the other 2 were a bit soft. But I think it was more the frustration of the first. Aidan Fitzpatrick blazed the ball into the body of Dan O'Reilly from the stands, and the fans certainly believed that struck his arm. I wasn't quite so sure on that, I couldn't really tell. There was another tamer call, as I say. Harry Millen hit the deck. I think that one was more just slightly a coming together of bodies, and then just there Ross Docherty, who's been back in the side today, he's the captain, he's been terrific, and he pinged a ball into Danny Mullen, another one of the influential players, and on his way through, bearing down a goal, no man to beat, he was tugged back in the box, and that one certainly looked like it could have been denying a goal scoring opportunity. But it has been all Partick Thistle. Accies have really struggled to get out and get Jean-Pierre Tihi up top on the ball, and it's been a frustrating afternoon for them, but they've managed to defend relentlessly, and it does remain Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton
John,
Accies
you need to
0.
get in quicker, because that's an unbelievable miss from Robinson.
I was trying to be a gentleman there.
Tell us about it.
I was trying to be a gentleman. I thought, let it go. That's got to be missing the season.
When you miss an open goal like that, you need to get straight in on open mics.
I didn't want to be. I was being gentlemanly, Leanne. I didn't want to interrupt. It was in full flow there.
It's got Robinson at the back post.
The ball came in, another free kick. It moved about. Liam Polworth totally scuffed his shot, but it ricocheted to Robinson 4 yards out, and he's booted over the bar. What a chance for Kamara. He might might have been offside, but it's an unbelievable miss.
Airdrie cruising against Alloa in League One, 3-0 now. Charlie Telfer with the latest goal there on 41 minutes. Things any better for you, Derek Ferguson?
Oh, I'm not complaining. It's just it's a bit kind of old-fashioned in terms of, it's a bit of rough and tumble. Still that goal that separates them. That goal, new signing George Oakley. No, it's a physical game, but I think you're going to get that as soon as I've looked at this Abro side. Big boys have got on that side, but this Morton side, they can do a little bit of everything. If they want to get it down and play, they can, but that physicality, they're matching that. Yeah, maybe not in stature, but they're getting wired in, so it's good viewing, but maybe in a different way from some of the other games.
Yeah, did you do a good job? Yeah, Chance?
Yes, I say this game is turned on its head. It's all Kilmarnock this time. What a strike from Waters. He's hit it from good 30 yards, and it's dipped at the last minute, only inches over Laidlaw's bar.
Oh, big chance there. I say big chance. It came from a free kick. Ryan Kent drove inside, won a free kick. James Brown was booked for the tackle, quite rightly so. James Tavernier stepped up, and a good diving save to his right hand side from Remy Matthew.
Yeah, it's going to be a big talking point, that, Leanne. Will he call him? You sticking with his decision? The first referee, as far as we're aware, that has done that.
Can I just be clear as well in saying that I was only making the point that well done Willie Collum based on Leanne saying that it was the correct decision?
Well, are you convinced of that, Leanne?
I think when you look at the two challenges, they're either both yellow or they're both red. I think if Jack could get the red card off the back of Nicky Clark catches the ball, his momentum takes him through and he catches Jack high. But I still think Ryan Jack is out of control. The point of contact, I said it was probably just below the ankle, but it's a lunge, it's a straight leg, his studs are showing. I think it ticks as many boxes as the Nicky Clark challenge. So I think there has to be consistency.
That's a key
either two yellows or two reds, and then it's clear for all to see.
I know it's a bugbear of Alan Preston's, but the communication was awful during the two incidents. I mean, fans were left just watching, not knowing what's going on. Gasps of air intake every time something flashed up on the screen 3 minutes after the incident.
Goal! Unbelievable 3-0. Johan! It's a new corner, and it's a simple header.
That's unbelievable.
Aberdeen are a shambles. Absolute shambles.
He's heard Michael Stewart's been speaking about him.
He'll be listening, Leanne. Get stuck in.
It's a bit like Almiron doing at Newcastle. Almiron. Jack Grealish having a goal. But honestly, Aberdeen fans are leaving. And rightly so. I would leave as well if I was an Aberdeen fan. This performance has been woeful.
Oh dear.
It's McCrory, I think, isn't it, that was picking him up?
You don't want to speak of somebody losing their job, but we've got to in this programme, it's the nature of the business. That's it, Tom, isn't it? I mean,
it is it, because the players aren't good enough. They don't have a competent defender at the club. Aberdeen, they don't have a competent defender at the club. They've tried to sign a few. It's signing again. We go back to the recruitment. Lamentable.
Half time at Starts Park.
It's a free header from a corner.
Thanks, Chris.
Free header from a corner. It's awful.
Cheers, Robbo.
Half
time for Hill.
Half time. Sorry, Amy.
And it's sorry. Go on ahead there, Derek.
Yeah, it's half time. It's 1-0 to Morton here at Capello.
I'll need to get a look at it again. I don't know if McCrory was actually picking up Johan to start with, or whether he was perhaps a zonal defender across the six. But McCrory ends up a standing jump trying to match Johan, who's got a run on him. Good header, powerful header, good delivery, line of the six.
You've seen Jim Goodwin there, arms folded, Craig Sampson's in his ear.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of chat about the number two, Lee Sharp not doing enough. I know a lot of the fans that night. He spoke, Tom, we were in the studio, the Dundee United defeat, and he didn't speak well that night. It was embarrassing. I felt the whole thing has just been a shambles.
Look, he can wave his arms, he can stand on his head. It doesn't matter. It's over now for Jim Goodwin, and we're focusing on Aberdeen because it's another horror show. Hibs have been outstanding. Absolutely, I didn't think they had this performance in them. They do. They've really fronted up. They've shown a lot of bottle and a lot of quality.
And without Nisbet in the team as well, and Porteous.
Had a disturbing week for them with losing Porteous. The whole Nisbet saga. This has been a really, really excellent performance from Hibs.
Half-time St Mirren, Kenny, 1-0 to the home side.
Thanks, Stephen.
Half-time at Dens, Kenny, 0-0.
Cheers, Stuart. An early penalty missed there by the home side. Paul McMullen, I think Stuart said one of the worst penalty misses you will ever see. So just waiting. The game's still getting played. Easter Road and Ibrox. There will be long delays, I'm sure.
6 minutes,
Kenny. 6 minutes. Thanks,
Rory. There'll be time here because we had a flare on when that first goal went in. But Tom's right. Hibs have been absolutely magnificent.
Who's been the standout, Alan?
McGeady.
Yeah,
He's a touch of class. He's an absolute touch of class. Everything
every time he gets the ball, he fronts up defenders, he takes them on. It must be a nightmare for McCrory. He's out there. McGeady is brilliant. He got a game in any team, and out with Celtic and Rangers, I would imagine, because of obviously his age, and he's not got the legs that he used to have. But his little movements, his trickery, his final ball. At the moment, he's facing up McCrory. He's gone by McCrory as if he's not there. Brilliant player, absolutely magnificent. But Aberdeen, and please take it easy on Willie at half time, but Aberdeen have been absolutely dreadful.
They're so passive, they're so slow. Speed of movement, speed of thought. They're like tailor shop dummies out there.
And this is after a monitoring board gave them a warning that the manager's under pressure, and that's the performance that you put in. And there goes the half-time whistle. As you can imagine, Aberdeen fans not happy at all. Hibs fans rightly on their feet applauding their heroes.
The only reason an Aberdeen fan would stay there is to eviscerate their players and their manager. It's the only reason you'd stay there, because it's utterly joyless and another humiliating experience for the entire club. These players aren't good enough. The manager, sadly, isn't good enough. You'd wonder who is good enough next.
Michael's shoving. It might all come up after 5 o'clock. Actually, sometimes he comes up with Tom and does a trail for sports, and he just messaged 2 messages actually. Clark, never a red card. Jack, easily a red card, according to our aficionado of.
I think both of them were kind of similar-ish.
Yeah.
And I would say both were red, to be honest.
Peterhead have just gone ahead against Queen of the South. Kieran Shanks with a goal there in first half stoppage time. Peterhead 1, Queen of the South 0. So just waiting on that game at Ibrox. It's going to be really interesting to see. Sports team tonight will try and have a look in the second half here and see if we can get better angles on these two big calls. Willie Collop was called over to the screen to see Callum Davidson. Not often you see Callum Davidson with a reaction like that. He was absolutely furious.
No, and that's what I mean though. When you look at it as a player, as a former player, you can understand what Clark has tried to do, and he's played the ball. He doesn't play the ball with a lot of force, and I don't think he makes contact with Ryan Jack with a lot of force. Yes, the point of contact is probably high.
Oh, good ball that! He's in! Oh, he's round Alan McGregor! Oh, he's miskicked the ball completely! Right. It was a magnificent pass. He was one-on-one. He tries to go round McGregor, which he does, and he totally miskicks the ball.
My goodness.
I don't even know if he miskicks it, Rory. I think he just misses the ball.
Does he miss the ball completely? I don't know what he did.
So well, though. What a lovely ball.
Ball through, yeah. That is half-time, by the way, Leanne. You can talk us through that. But, I mean, it was a great ball, and what a chance, and it's been St Johnstone's only sniff.
Yeah, we'll get a look at it again. It's a huge chance. Brilliant run. He does everything right. I don't even know if he needed the extra touch. He misses the ball. As he goes to connect with the left boot, he just gets his studs stuck in the turf. Misses it completely. Huge chance.
Lovely bit of play. Yeah, great through ball there. So that is us. We have reached half time again. No shortage of talking points. Story really developing through Easter Road again. Some big calls on VAR. Our pundits not agreeing on these calls. So all the half-time reports coming up right here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
Football from Sports Sound.
Brilliant drop of the shoulder.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
So much to get through, so many talking points on Sports, and we gave this game the big build-up before kick-off today. So much at stake at Easter Road. Hibs against Aberdeen there for us, Paul Mitchell.
And to paraphrase a song title from the Jersey Boys musical just up the road at the moment, oh, what a half. What a half of football it's been for Hibernian. Hibs 3, Aberdeen 0. 2 goals from Josh Campbell. He scored twice against Aberdeen in victory here earlier on in the season, and one from Eli Johan. But some of the defending from Aberdeen has been shocking. The play from Hibernian has been positive. The return of Joe Newell, couldn't play in the cup tie last week. He was suspended. He's been terrific. Aidan McGeady's been great, and Josh Campbell has got the opening 2 goals. The first coming after 10 minutes. McGeady and Johan combining. Johan a lovely little turn, got his shot away somehow. Joe Lewis got the save, pushed it wide, simply not wide enough. Josh Campbell from the narrowest of angles to pop the ball home. 5 minutes later, a Newell corner from the left hand side. The edge of the box was where Josh Campbell Campbell was situated. He got away from Graham Shinney and the header from 14-15 yards into the back of the net. Joe Lewis left with no chance. Graham Shinney did have Aberdeen's best chance after the half hour. Ball simply would not come down to him in the area. Josh Campbell, the challenge to touch the ball away, and just when it looked like Aberdeen would get in after a good 5-10 minutes towards the end of the game, they conceded a corner, swung in by Newell, and Ellie Youhan all alone for his second goal of the season, changes the game absolutely. Oh, what a half it's been. Hibernian 3, Aberdeen 0.
Yeah, so the home side absolutely on top there at Easter Road. Let's then get to Ibrox. So many talking points in the first half there, Liam McLeod.
Yeah, you up for some VAR chat, Kenny?
Oh, yes.
It's been about managerial futures most of the afternoon. Well, plenty of VAR chat to be had here. First things first, Rangers lead thanks to a James Tavernier penalty in 15 minutes. It was given against James Brown for handball. Again, I think it's fair to say that the former pros, footballer-wise, are suggesting that this was a very harsh award, whereas the officials here, Willie Collum, the referee, Nick Walsh, the VAR, were happy with the decision. Tavernier dispatched the penalty and it was 1-0. The controversy comes because Nicky Clark was sent off. It was a high-looking challenge on Ryan Jack in the midfield. It was initially enough to want Willie Collum to produce a yellow card, but after a VAR check, it was given as a red. Nick Walsh advising that it should be a red. That's what was given, and Jack Clark was sent off for the challenge, and Jack, just as soon as he was up and he was ready to play on again, Jack raced into a challenge on Adam Montgomery. Again, Willie Collum produced a yellow. Again, it went to a VAR check. Willie Collum this time came over to have a look at the pitch side monitor, having watched it back several times, and despite pressure from the St Johnstone subs Stevie May and Ali Crawford, he stuck with his original decision. So yellow only it was for Ryan Jack. So Rangers continue with the 11 players. St Johnstone down to 10, but Saints were almost level. Nicky Clark actually had a good chance before he was sent off as he volleyed over the crossbar from a Hallberg cross. Dre Wright was through in the 6th minute of injury time, the final minute of injury time at the end of the first half, rounded Alan McGregor, and then he tripped up himself and the ball went behind for the goal kick. And that means at half time at Ibrox, it's Rangers 1, 10-man St Johnstone 0.
Thank you, Liam. A similar score line in Dingwall. John Robertson is there for us.
Yeah, and it's been a game of two halves in the first half as Ross County came out the traps with new signing Eamon Brophy looking very sharp. He twisted away and struck one just past in the 10th minute before opening scoring 2 minutes later. Ross County broke from a Kilmarnock corner. They won a crucial header in the middle of the pitch. Nohan Kenny, the recent sign from Hibs, strode through, squared it across the 6-yard line, and there was Eamon Brophy to tuck it away to give them perfect start. Josh Harmon twice went close with 2 strikes. One went just over the bar, the other one straight at keeper Zach Hemmings, before arguably an even better chance. The 24th minute, it dropped for Iacovetti just 8 yards out. He smashed it over the bar. That wasn't the end of the misses though, as Kilmarnock then took over. A Jordan Jones shot rattled off Robinson, went inches wide before Waters blasted 1 inches over the bar. Ash Taylor should have scored a whipped-in free kick, headed it wide from 8 yards, and then the miss, possibly the miss of the season. The ball went wide, it was rattled in by Liam Poworth, it deflected off 2 people, fell to Scott Robinson 4 yards out. He scooped it over the bar and missed. As it stands right now, if the results say the same, County will go above Kilmarnock, and all 4 teams at the bottom will be sitting on 20 points.
Oh, fantastic. So much to talk about on Sports Sound this afternoon. Another 1-0 scoreline, Stephen Craigan. Another home side in front in Paisley.
Yeah, we shouldn't really be surprised, Kenny. We have to say that, you know, ahead of this game today, St Mirren were 10 league games unbeaten here at the Smythe Stadium and are on course to make it 11. The only goal of the game so far came in the 16th minute. Really good play down the right-hand side by Ryan Strain and Greg Kilty, who then fired the ball across goal. Curtis Main, former Motherwell man, of course, for his 5th league goal of the season, just nipped ahead of Shane Blaney to nick it in past Liam Kelly. I have to say, Motherwell are good to watch. I always say that, but they lack a cutting edge. They lack a little bit of punch, whereas St Mirren, on the other hand, they know how to win. They don't complicate the game and they keep it simple for themselves. I think they said all. St Mirren goalkeeper Trevor Cushion hasn't had a save to make all afternoon. Motherwell work to do. It's that Curtis main goal that separates Motherwell and St Mirren. So it's St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0.
So in the top flight this afternoon, Hibs 3, Aberdeen 0, Rangers 1, St Johnstone 0, Ross County 1, Kilmarnock 0, and St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0. There's a big game at the top of the Championship. Dundee against Queen's Park there for us. Stuart Kettlewell.
Yeah, Kenny, here at Dens Park it's Dundee 0, Queen's Park 0. The big talking point in the half came in 6 minutes, and it was Paul McMullen. Some terrific play, weaved his way into the penalty box, and he was scythed down. He stepped up to take the penalty, but too casually with the inside of his foot went down the middle. Queen's Park goalkeeper Callum Ferry never moved and gathered it with ease. From there, 10 minutes or so afterwards, Dundee created several chances. Barney Maguire from 18 yards whistled one past the post. Jordan McGee from 10 yards had an effort deflected and scrambled away from the goal mouth. From there as well, we had efforts from McCowan, McMullen, well saved by Callum Ferry. But from that point, the game really dipped out, and neither team offered a great deal in front of goal. Queen's Park themselves have had one or two efforts. Thomas and McPake, speculative efforts, high and wide of the target. All honesty, Kenny, it is goalless, and we're hoping for much better in this second 45 minutes.
Thanks, Stuart. So goalless at Dens, also goalless at Firhill. Amy Canavan.
Yeah, it's Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Academical here. It's been all Partick Thistle in the first half, Kenny. They looked really energetic down the right-hand side in particular. No signs of fatigue despite extra time and penalties last weekend against Dunfermline. So too did Accies, of course, knocking out Ross County. But Ian McCall will only be disappointed and perplexed, really, as to how his side are not in the lead. I mentioned those 3 penalty cries from the crowd, at least the pick off the lot. Danny Mullen bearing down through on goal. But prior to that, Ross Docherty fed through a really lovely ball actually into the path of Kyle Turner. He back-heeled it, helping it along its way, but there was just nobody waiting at the back post to get that crucial touch and stretch it beyond Ryan Fulton. It would have been a wonderful goal. There's been so many fantastic passages of play from Partick Thistle. I'd be here all day if I was to name them all. Aaron Muirhead, though, he drilled in a pass from deep. That's been a real common feature of this game actually. The long balls going forward, that's even without Brian Graham, Stephen Lawless and Anton Dowds, and you wouldn't even notice actually that these 3 clinical players these 3 crucial players perhaps are missing only in those clinical moments where you would think where Graham in particular would be the one burying them away. He scored in both previous meetings against Accies so far this season. For John Rankin's side, they've struggled to get out. The ball's rarely even made it into the midfield, never mind up top. They've been defending resolutely. I've been really impressed by Dylan McGowan. I've been impressed with him actually since his arrival. Derek and I watched them against Greenock Morton a few weeks ago. He's vocal in his leadership. He's got Dan O'Reilly beside him as well. He's young, but he's keeping them in line, holding a slightly higher line, and so far they're managing to keep Partick Thistle at bay, as it is Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 0.
Yeah, so far so good for John Rankin's side, desperately in need of the points. Let's then get to Derek Ferguson. Derek, you've been watching Morton against Arbroath.
Yeah, it's Morton 1, Arbroath 0. Morton off to a flyer, taking the lead 4 minutes on the clock. Was new signing George Oakley nodding home from close range after good work from Miller. Arbroath reacted, getting the ball forward, every opportunity, very physical in their approach, and went close. In 27 minutes it was Sean Adwarka with the running shot from 20 yards out, bringing out a good save from Schweik in goal. That was probably Arbroath's best moment at the moment. It's tough and physical down here at Caplow. Morton 1, Arbroath 0.
Thank you, Derek. Let's then get to Starks Park. Wraith Rovers against Inverness Cally Thistle, and Chris Doolan.
Yep, Kenny, it's Wraith Rovers 1, Inverness Cally 0. A half that was all Wraith Rovers, to be honest. They hit the bar after 6 minutes. Ross Millen whipped a cross in. Jamie Gullen rose above everyone and powered a header off the crossbar with Ridgers rooted to the spot. Inverness, to be fair, have huffed and puffed. They broke away against the run of play and had a good chance. Aaron Doran slipped in. Billy Mackay, who should have done better, but he tried to lift it over Jamie McDonald. He was denied, and then Wraith got that deserved lead. A fantastic goal, and a goal that's worthy of winning any game. Long ball up the pitch, Danny Devine couldn't clear it. It landed at Lewis Vaughan and he hit it on the volley 25 yards into the bottom corner. They put them in the lead at half time, and it's half time. We've just got underway for the second half, but it's Wraith Rovers 1, Inverness 0.
Thanks, Chris. So in the Championship, Dundee 0, Queen's Park 0, Morton 1, Arbroath 0, Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Wraith Rovers 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 1. In League 1, Ayr Airdrie 3, Alloa 0, Clyde 1, Dunfermline 1, FC Edinburgh 0, Falkirk 0, Montrose 2, Kelty Hearts 1, Peterhead 1, Queen of the South 0, and in League 2, Albion Rovers 0, Forfar 0, Annan Athletic 1, East Fife 0, East Fife down to 10 men, Dumbarton 1, Bonnyrigg 0, Stenhousemuir 1, Elgin City 0, and Stirling Albion 0, Stranraer 0. So once again, a choice of listening on Sports Sound to listen to commentary of Hibs against Aberdeen tuned to BBC Radio Scotland on digital, BBC Radio Scotland Extra on BBC Sounds, or 810 medium wave. You can also find commentary of Rangers against St Johnstone online only at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland, and for open all mics choose BBC Radio Scotland on BBC Sounds or 92 to 95 FM.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
So just some news on that red card for East Fife. It was Keir Miller on 47 minutes, and Stranraer have gone a goal down away to Stirling Albion. Ross Davidson with a goal there on 48 minutes. So the team's just coming out. Alan Preston at Easter Road. I mean, I don't know what to say. There can't be any way back for Jim Goodwin from this. Even put some respectability on the scoreline's not going to do it, is it?
I would very much doubt it, Ken. And they were actually booed back out by their own supporters, which is, incredible for your home supporters who've travelled in big numbers again today to boo you back out. And they deserve it. They have been ridiculous.
Goal in Dingwall! It's 2-0 for Ross County. Kilmarnock were warned the 47th minute. Brophy knocked one wide from a white knockdown. This time it's the other way about. Harmon's gone down the left. He squared it across the goals. It's just balled about. And big Jordan White was at the back post to knock it home. Ross County 2, Kilmarnock 0.
Goal Inverness. A fantastic ball down the right hand side. It's Billy Mackay who takes himself out of a central area, which he's not done all afternoon. He goes down that right hand channel, he slides a fantastic ball back inside, a wee reverse pass back inside, and it's Jay Henderson on loan from St Mirren, steps inside on his right foot and drills it back across Jamie McDonald. 1-8 here at Starts Park.
It's all too easy just looking, John, at that Ross County goal. Kilmarnock look as if they forgot to come out for the second half. Ash Taylor goes to engage with Brophy, doesn't do anything, doesn't put pressure on the ball, doesn't track the run of Callaghan, the overlap. Ball's put across the six, which again you're expecting your goalkeeper or somebody to clear. Rolls all the way through, bobbles actually all the way through to White, who just knocks it home at the back post. Good goal from County because it's a quick start in the second half, exactly what you're after.
They were warned, Leanne, because just previous to that was a ball knocked in and Jordan White cushioned it for Brophy, and he dug it, he smashed it into the ground and past the post, and you'd have thought that would have got, as you say, woke Kilmarnock up, but it hasn't. And you're right, far too easy, but it's a massive goal for Ross County.
Just want to pick up something, sorry Steve, just want to pick up something in the St Mirren Motherwell game from the 20th minute of the first half. From a corner, Motherwell should have had a penalty. Charles Dunn pulls down Lammy, I think it's Lammy, around the neck, and it's pretty clear penalty. I think it was a silent check on it. I don't think it went to VAR. Stephen did it, but it looks a clear penalty to me from Motherwell. Not given.
I called it during the game, but it went to VAR.
You call it,
did go to VAR.
So it's hard to see from where we are, but clearly it was Charles Dunn and Ricky Lammy. Alan Burrows actually came to me at half-time and showed me on the video. He felt as if maybe Lammy had made contact with Dunn first, which then initiated Dunn to then go and pull him down. So certainly it was a topic of debate.
Ramadani's been writhing about in pain here, Leanne. Have a look at that. Referee waves play on.
Just getting a look at it just now.
Kenny, you need to get back to Chris Doolan. There's a big goal at Kirkcaldy.
Oh, he gave us it, I think.
Yep, did he get it?
Yep.
Good.
Is there a better, Robbo, is there a better record Inverness have got? Is it 31 games unbeaten in 90 minutes?
I'm not saying anything until the final whistle.
31 games against them.
2004 was the last time. 2004 was Rovers' last win against Inverness.
John, sorry, just on Eamon Brophy and Jordan White. I mean, it's as if those two players need each other to complement their game. When you think of Jordan White being that focal point, Brophy has the legs round about him.
You're bang on, because Jordan's, and this has been a week, there was a mention in the press this week that bringing Brophy in, they'd have to change the system to play, because Jordan's actually done well. He's led the line really well for County. all season. But they've played with Edward Zuara on the left and young Kazim Olagbe on loan for Southampton on the right. And they've never really got much support to him. But today, it's the classic big man, little man combination, and they're causing lots and lots of... Already, they look like they've got a relationship. Already, they look like they can play with each other. And as I say, they're both on the score sheet. And as it stands, as I say, the 4 teams at the bottom, after tonight with United play Celtic tomorrow, could be on 20 points.
Kenny, the teams, as you see, are back out at Ibrox, and Ryan Jack has left the pitch at half-time. He's not on. John Lundstrom is on in his place. Whether that's the after-effects of the tackle on Ryan Jack, trying to shake off and couldn't, or whether that's Michael Beale taking precaution in case he gets sent off, is anyone's guess. However, he's off, and John Lundstrom is on.
Thanks, Rory. Stephen, what's happening in the early stages, second half there in Paisley?
Well, just when those 2 quick-fire goals went in, Motherwell had a really big chance. Second swinging corner by Blair Spittle down the left-hand side. Ricky Lamley got up above everybody and just glanced the ball past the outside of the post, because Stevie Hamill desperately needs a reaction from his team. You know, John saying about the bottom 4 all being in the same points. Motherwell are basically off the bottom because of goal difference, so they've got a lot of work to do. They lack a cutting edge. They need a little bit of finesse at the top end of the pitch. Mikael Mandron missing today was a huge blow after his 2 goals last week, but he has to try and come up with something. St Mirren, they'll quite happily go and chase the game if they have to. If not, more than happy to sit back, suck up pressure and try and play on the counter-attack. We're still 1-0.
Robert, when we've got you on, we must get your thoughts on Lawrence Shankland. You know, what a signing he has been for Hearts, equalling your 20-goal club record. What are your thoughts on him as a striker?
Yeah, listen, it's all there in front of you. He's showed over the years. You know, it didn't go well for him at Aberdeen. He dropped down the leagues to Ayr, was tremendous down there. I got first hand of it. He scored all 4 goals in an opening game in the season. 4-1 United win over my Inverness team at the time. And it didn't work for him. He had that wee spell in Belgium. It didn't quite work for him, but his all-round game has been fantastic. You know, it's not just his goals. And I think the big thing for me is he seems to have. You've mentioned it in the programme all day about Hibs and certainly about Aberdeen, about lack of leaders. He seems to have taken the captaincy role on really, really well. That seems to have given. It was something I was never interested in, but it seems to have given Lawrence Shankland a real purpose, and he's leading by example. So listen, as I've said in the press this week, I'm not precious about any of the rest. I generally hope he goes on.
Biscuits.
He's only 251 goals behind.
Your nose is getting bigger as you speak.
Honestly, the wee man's been sitting in a dark room since last Sunday.
Alan, I was going to ask you, I saw the headline this week, Robbo, I hope he smashes my record and hits 30.
Yes, absolutely.
Alan, are you having it?
No chance.
I am not, I can assure you, I am not precious about them at all.
Kenny, what you have to take into account was, prior to this season, a lot of people in Scotland had doubted Lawrence Shankland's ability in the top flight.
Yes.
Because even though he was with Dundee United, he didn't get a hatful of goals. He got a few. Championship, they always said, championship goal scorer, can he make the step up? Well, he certainly answered this season emphatically.
You'll always keep the derby goals, pal. 27, he's got 3 so far.
He's got 4.
4, sorry.
So I've been counting, don't worry. But I'm not precious.
Stephen, Shankland didn't get the volume of goals at Dundee United in the Premiership because the service he was getting.
Oh, big shock in the cards at Hurley, mate.
Absolutely, totally against the run of play, and it's on the counter-attack. Substitute Dylan Stevenson bearing down on goal. Partick Thistle defenders absolutely know there because they were flooding forward in their wave of attack. It's a wonderful counter-attack. John Rankin will be so very pleased with it. Jamie Snedden, absolutely no chance. It's a terrific finish from Stevenson just inside the box. A curling effort past Snedden into the back of the net. Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 1.
Falkirk have got a goal up away to SC Edinburgh. Gary Oliver with a strike there on 54 minutes. You made a point, Tom McShank?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying at Dundee United he didn't have the players around him to give him a good service, and he was feeding off crumbs there. That's why his probably goal tally wasn't as high as people expected at Hearts.
Yeah, but his all-round game wasn't as good even there, John.
No, it wasn't.
You're taking everything. Every goal he scored for Hearts this season hasn't been someone giving him the ball or supplying him. You know, he's had to go and kind of mix his game up.
But he's a much more rounded player, much more confident player than he was then. He's been outstanding. He's just been brilliant.
Watching him at Dundee United, Tom, was so frustrating. Because at times you would be watching the game and he's in the halfway line.
Yeah.
He was asked to drop into areas that he was just so ineffective. But actually, the way Hearts play, they go gung-ho, go forward, attacking football, lots of options, flair players around him.
I think that was Nicky Mellon, Leanne. You're thinking Nicky Mellon trying to squeeze Nicky Clark, Mark McNulty and Lawrence Shankland. 3 centre forwards as a front 3. It simply didn't work.
No.
I remember that night he scored. Maybe he scored from the halfway line that night.
Oh yeah,
I get slaughtered that night for saying the keeper should have done better. But you know, that was only my take on it.
You should get slaughtered every
absolutely.
Well, you do actually.
I do actually. It's relentless. Yes, another goal come in just to take away. Where did I see? 2-0 to Annan Athletic against 10-man East Fife. Chris Johnson with the second there on 54 minutes, and confirmation comes to that big goal for Hamilton Accies Dylan Stevenson on 54 minutes. Let's get back to Ibrox, to Rory Loy's here for us. What's happening, Rory?
It's been all Rangers so far in this second half, as most of the first half was, but Michael Beale want that second goal, because right in the 46th minute, or the 6th minute of injury time, as we spoke about, St Johnstone had that massive chance, so whilst it's 1-0, there's always a chance. One thing that's really struck me today is Malik Tillman's work rate. He's working his socks off. He really is, and that type of player Malik Tillman is. You go from being what people may view as a luxury player, when you aren't maybe playing so well or having a big influence in the game, you're still giving the team something. That's something that I think Michael Beale's gotten out of Malik Tillman.
I hope Neil McCann's listening, because he's slaughtered him regularly, and quite rightly so.
Well, today he's worked his socks off as he plays Ryan Kent in. Chance goal! Oh! Flashes just by the post. I thought for the life of me it was going to nestle in the side net, and it looks like Matthews has potentially got a touch as it's a corner kick. But again, it's that man Tillman who walks back the pitch, he gets the ball, plays a slide rule pass into Ryan Kent, who flashes one across the face of goal. Randy Matthews, I assume, got a touch, so it's a corner.
It looks as if he got a good touch. Rory
must have been some save that way.
He just flicked his right glove at it, manages to turn it round the post. Good play from Rangers, as you say. Morelos hold up play, very good. Tillman comes into action, slips the ball down the right hand side for Kent.
Yep, indeed.
Matthews does really well. Really well.
But Rory, isn't it amazing? Suddenly you sign a couple of players, or you're linked with a couple of players, and everyone else in the team suddenly raises their levels because they think they're under pressure for their own position. Plus Tillman, you would think, would want to get a full-time move to Ibrox, so he has to do both sides of the game.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you could look at it either way. I suppose the competition for places, and with Cantwell coming in, he'll be hoping to nail down that position which Tillman's played a good few times. But Cantwell's looked a decent, very, very good football player. He's maybe lacking a bit of sharpness, which I expect him to go off in the next 10 minutes. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Craigs. I think Michael Beale has openly spoken about only signing players who he wants to start games, so that'll give everyone who does start currently a little bit of a nudge. But Tillman's rose to the occasion so far.
Funny old game. Kenny Crawford, a reporter, has just messaged me with a full-time scoreline. Darvel beaten 3-2 by Atherley today. It's incredible, isn't it?
Well, that's Atherley, the third best team in Scotland now then.
Mick Kennedy must go. That's ridiculous. Surely that'll be on Sports Sound later. Tom English will be leading the brigade.
Where was his dressing room oratory today?
What did you guys make of that speech? I thought it was terrific. Is it quite commonplace, that sort of talk in the dressing room?
I think when you see, if you watch certainly the Arsenal one as well with Arteta, he's something similar.
Yeah,
it's brilliant, and I think it was magnificent from him on the night, and it certainly worked. His team, his whole town, they were all brilliant. Magnificent performance from them, and thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, and a great choice by BBC Scotland. The next round of the Cup at home to Falkirk. That's Monday night. That should be a great game. Robbo, we were talking earlier on in the wake of Davy Martindale's rant. So the best rant you've ever witnessed or been in the receiving end of?
Jim Jeffries, the aforementioned Jim Jeffries, and it goes down as the man who cancelled Christmas rant. We went down to Kilmarnock, and this is where the disclaimer comes in. I wasn't even on the bench. I was left out the bench completely, such as my form at the time, and we got beat 3-0 at Kilmarnock, and it was a day before the lads' Christmas trip to Newcastle the following day, and Jim Jeffries went absolutely tonto, berserk, told us we were not going on our trip to Newcastle, to turn up at Tynecastle the next again day, and he was going to run the absolute everything out of us, which he did at 9 o'clock, and I was saying to the boys, look, calm down, he'll give us a hard session, and we'll get on the train at 12 o'clock, everything will be okay. And no, he ran us for 3 hours, and then told us we were not to go out in fancy dress in Newcastle, not to go out in Newcastle at all. that we were in all week for double training sessions. He did, however, didn't say we couldn't go out in Edinburgh. So the boys got together and thought, stuff it, we're all in it together.
Brave.
We'll go out in Edinburgh. We were very, very brave, and we paid for it the rest of the week, and I can assure you.
Yeah, I remember doing a thing with Jim and Billy, and I was speaking to him about that, and Jim was telling a story, but it was Richard Cadet, I think he basically said he had him by the throat, which I'm sure it doesn't happen now, but I think it seemed to be quite a common occurrence in days gone by in the dressing rooms. Falkirk now 2-0 up, speaking of Jim Jeffries. Callum Morrison in 58 minutes away from Edinburgh. Yes,
Kenny, I remember I was an apprentice. I was 16 years old. It was the last game of the season, and I'd made the squad a few times for Kilmarnock when Jim Jeffries was in charge, but I'd never made the bench. So I thought with it being the last game of the season, I had an outside chance of maybe making the bench. So what they did was they named the starting 11, then the subs. Now, I was the very last name read out, and I don't know why, but I was that buzzing and excited. I stood up, but he was then going to give the team talk.
Goal, Wraith Rovers.
Yeah, Chris.
Another fantastic finish. Lewis Vaughan again involved. Dylan Easton involved. The front four of Wraith Rovers have been absolutely superb to watch. Dylan Easton carries the ball 20-30 yards. He passes it on to Lewis Vaughan. He carries it 20-30 yards up the middle of the pitch and slides a wee slide drill pass to the inside right. Aidan Conley steps off the wide area, collects the ball and steps into his left hand side with his left foot and bends it into the far post away from Mark Ridgers, who I don't even think has a chance of moving. He's rooted to the spot for it and it goes right in the top corner. 2-1 Wraith Rovers.
Thanks, Chris. Back to you, Rory.
Yeah,
Here's a chance for Hibs. What a save, Joe Lewis. I think it's offside to McCurdy initially.
Great save.
Yeah, and the flag's just rightly gone up. But why did they not just put the flag up? Somebody's going to get injured or booked. What happens then?
It seems a crazy.
I'd love to ask a referee then. So if the flag goes up, that's the initial foul. What happens if somebody smashes someone and it's a red card or a yellow card? What did he do then? With the initial foul.
I agree with that, Alan. There's certain moments. I don't know if that one in particular is one that you could say it looked like anybody was going to get hurt. It looks like two players going for the ball. McCurdy's in a foot race. And I think if you call that up and it's not offside and it's as good a chance as what Hibs have just created, you're furious.
We had that here today as well. That Eamon Brophy was clearly offside, 3 or 4 yards
what
offside.
Touch that is, Morelos, it's a goal! Glenn Kamara!
Oh, it's game over here at Dingwall, just as I was telling you about Leon. Dandas hit one from 30 yards. What a mistake by Zach Hemmings. It's right at him. He got it. It spilt out over his hands, over his head. It doesn't even hit the net. It bounces over the line. 63 minutes gone, and it's Ross County 3, bottom of the table, Kilmarnock 0.
Another game which is officially over, I would say, is in Glasgow. Rangers take a 2-0 lead. It's a ball which is drilled into Morelos' feet. He flicks it, a beautiful touch, I must say. Doesn't need to break stride, Glenn Kamara. He steps onto it and tucks it into the corner beautifully. It's Rangers 2, St Johnstone 0.
Poor defending by Scales for Aberdeen. Johan gets the wrong side of him and he pulls him down. He's lucky, but it's a yellow card. Really, really dreadful defending.
Right, Alan, let me put this to you. Right, we spoke a lot about Jim Goodwin's position before the game. I was looking at a quote there.
Got a goal.
Yep, on you go.
It's a goal for a Broth. It's out or nothing. They've just broke down the right hand side. It's with Basonda. He's into the box. I think he goes for goal. He drives it hard and low across the box. I'm just trying to clarify who it is. I'll get that in a minute. I'll just want to make sure I've got the right player. But it's been. I was describing the game as tough and physical, Kenny. But to be honest, it's been pretty horrible this second half. But no, they just broke away down the right hand side. It's a shot. He sclaffs it away to the back post, and I think it's the fullbacks come in. I think it's Colin Hamilton. I'll clarify that in a second.
I'll get that from you, Derek.
It's one each.
Oh, here's a chance for Hibs again. Johan's in. It's a 2v1 situation to McGeady. He's got the ball at his feet, a little step over, tries to. Now, once again, it's just Aberdeen losing it, centre of the defence.
Alan, I want to come to that in just 1 second. Airdrie 4, Alloa 0. Callum Gallagher with a goal there in 63 minutes. 4 for a 1-0 up away to Albion Rovers. Finn Robson on 62. And just hearing there, Colin Hamilton equalising for Arbroath. Thanks, Derek. I mean, Alan, we spoke a lot about the pressure on Jim Goodwin. Look at his quotes yesterday. He said he made a mistake not picking Graham Shinney. He said there'll be no mistakes tomorrow at the game at Hibs in terms of my team selection. Have you seen anything anything from these players that they're fighting for their manager, that they care about the club.
Not one, and that's an indictment. But do you know what else I think? The decision and the statement by the Football Monitoring Board has put pressure on the players, and they can't handle it.
Yeah.
It looks like to me they just bottled it. Absolutely bottled it.
Alan, they couldn't handle it before the Monitoring Board issued the stupid statement. They can't handle it now. It's not. I don't think it's anything to do with the statement. They're just not good enough.
No, I know. I get that, Tom. But it's piled more pressure on, and they just can't. They can't stand. They've not stood up for it. They've just. When you're looking at a team, and Hibs were under pressure as well, but Lee Johnson's men have been absolutely magnificent from start to finish. And you're talking about 2 international players out of that Hibs team today in Porteous and Nisbet. They've brought McCurdy, who's been much maligned and criticised since he's come. He's played well. McGeady's been magnificent. Johan's been a hit or a miss. He's done well today. Young Fish eventually playing his centre half position. He's played it right back for Hibs in games and looked out of water. I shouldn't have said that, but he is. He's playing centre half. He's playing centre half today. You know, but he's been magnificent.
Oh, chance, goal somewhere.
Well, one off the line here at Starts Park that was, Kenny. It was another chance for Wraith Rovers. I can't see who cleared it off the line. It was a corner from Aidan Conley. There's a stramash in the box. Someone gets their head on it and it's flying in the back of the net. But I think it's the fullback who's on the line, and it just hits off him. He doesn't know much about it, and they managed to scramble it clear, but it's still 2-1 Wraith Rovers.
Stuart Kettlewell is at our game of the day in the Championship. It is 3rd v 1st. Any sign of a breakthrough, Stuart?
Nah, not really, Kenny. Not really. If anyone was going to score from what we've seen since the start of the second half, it would be Dundee. They've had a couple of chances. Kwame Thomas has had a couple of opportunities in and around the 6-yard box. And just a few moments ago, we had a header from Jordan McGee where he should score. But in all honesty, Queen's Park, nothing on target, Kenny, so far in the period of time we've played. And I would say if we're going to snatch a victory here, it's going to be from Dundee.
Hibs 3, Aberdeen 0, Rangers 2, St Johnstone 0, Ross County 3, Kilmarnock 0, St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0 into the Scottish Championship. Just hearing there from Stuart, Dundee 0, Queen's Park 0, Morton 1, Arbroath 1, Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 1, Wraith Rovers 2, Inverness Cally Thistle 1. In League 1, Airdrie 4, Alloa 0, Clyde 1, Dunfermline 1, FC Edinburgh 0, Falkirk 2, Montrose 2, Kelty Hearts 1, Peterhead 1, Queen of the South 1. And in League 2, Albion Rovers 0, Forfar 1, Annan Athletic 2, East Fife 0, East Fife down to 10 men, Dumbarton 1, Bonnyrigg 0, Stennismuir 1, Elgin City 0, and Stirling Albion 1, Stranraer 0. Just finish a story for us, Rory. So I want to go to Derek Ferguson on the managerial run. He'll have a good one, I'm sure.
So I've stood up and the full team have looked at me. Obviously a young 16-year-old boy full of experienced professionals, and Billy Brown, who if anyone knows him, has went, "You want to take the team talk, son? You want to take the team talk?" So and I'm like, I'm 16, I'm naive, I'm thinking, no, I went to sit down. He went, "No, come up here, take a team talk, son." So I've got about halfway up, everybody's looking at me, I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to need to think of something to say here. I get about halfway up and he says, "I'm kidding, son, sit yourself down." And I had to go all the way back where the full first team were just laughing at me. So
how red was your face?
Oh, it was absolutely ruthless of him, like I said, 16, but I was still delighted I made the benches. Todd Cantwell makes his bow here. He comes off the pitch and Fashion Sakala comes on.
How's he done, Rory?
He was fine. Good. Yeah. It was him that put the ball into Morelos, who flicked it around the corner for Kamara. So he can be pleased with his debut. I don't think he did anything absolutely outstanding, but he's shown early signs of being a very, very good all-round footballer, Kenny.
We spoke, Robbo, before the game, the lack of goals at County. We spoke about their record, the worst record since we returned after the World Cup break. But they're on song today, 3 goals, and Kelly really struggling.
Yeah, and it's we talk about big moments in game. The first 25 minutes of game, County could have been a couple up. Brophy and White were looking really sharp, and then Kilmarnock really have only got themselves to blame because they've had 3 wonderful opportunities. As I said, the Ashtaler header, he should have scored. He's 8 yards out middle of goal, no one near him, brought it past, and then they had a free kick blast over. But the chance that could have turned this game around, Scott Robinson, 4 yards out. Leanne will tell you it's virtually impossible to miss. He scoops it over, but County have come out second half and done exactly what done the first half. They come out the traps really strongly. Brophy missed a chance before setting up Jordan White, and then, as I say, the mistake, wait till you see this one on TV tonight from Zach Hemmons. It's straight at him from 30 yards, head height. He catches it and it just spins out his hands over his head, and he tries to turn around to see what it is, can't see what it is, it just bounces over the line.
in 63 minutes today, Ross County have matched their total number of goals from their previous 4.5 hours in the league.
Wow.
It's amazing.
The shape today, Tom, looks better from the. It's a 5-3-2. You've had Brophy up front with Jordan White. Brophy's now come off and he's been replaced by Alex Samuel, who's a similar type of player. You've got Dan Callahan getting forward with Tilson sitting up. Kenna, he's been excellent today. Kenna on loan from Hibs. But the back five have been, when they lose the ball, they get back, they work hard. But they say Randall and Harmon and the wing backers have been going up. So the shape looks more compact. They look more settled. They've got all the right players in the right positions, and they look like they've got a real threat up front now. I
see the way Aberdeen are defending today. They're 3-0. They're lucky it's only 3.
It could get worse for them, Tom, because McGeady's gone off, but Kevin Nisbet's just come on.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's good. It could get worse if they continue defending like this, like the way they've been defending for a long time. They'll be in relegation trouble before they know it. They're in dire straits defensively. And everywhere in the park, actually. It's like public park stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I said, honestly, it's like a cup tie where a Premier League side's meeting a lower division team. It really is. They've been that bad.
Leanne, Tom, I don't know if you've seen the opportunity for St Johnstone there, but Cammy McPherson arrives in the box from I think it's a nod down, and he works an angle pretty well. It's a little bit lucky. He's very disappointed with himself, which makes me think that it was a massive chance, but it's the first time we've seen St Johnstone involved in an offensive aspect in this second half. It's led to a corner. McPherson,
I think is it Davies that blocks it? I think it's a good block. I think McPherson does everything he could, Rory. He didn't have a lot of space to get it through. There was bodies in front of him. You get the break of the ball.
From the corner, McPherson's pinged it in, and Considine's got on the end of it, skips up, but makes a pretty comfortable save in the end, McGregor. It's still 2-0 to Rangers.
Right, let's get to Paisley then. Stephen Craig, and as things stand, St Mirren back into the top 6. It's been a terrific turnaround from the manager, given the huge disappointment when they were bundled out of the League Cup in the early stages. You there, Stephen?
Kenny, I think he's dropped off. See, when you look at it, St Mirren picking up the 3 points today moves them ahead of Aberdeen. They play Aberdeen midweek.
That's right.
And they've also got a game in hand.
Yeah. See as well, Kenny, I covered
Aberdeen's hopes, Rory, top 6. You can see them slowly but surely starting to diminish because, as you mentioned, Tom, the goals that they're leaking, the types of performances, the state of the club just now, it just doesn't look good.
I remember,
sorry, Rory.
No, you're quite all right. I remember I covered that exact fixture at the start of the season, the opening game at Paisley against Motherwell, and it was obviously just on the back of the League Cup campaign, and St Mirren were very, very good. How Stevie Hamill's first game in charge, how they won that game, I'll never know. Liam Kelly was unbelievable. So when you look back to then, having picked up no points from the first game as well, to where they are now, when this fixtures came around again, Stephen Robinson deserves a lot of credit.
Again, Aberdeen, you look at they to pay compensation to so many managers now. They pay compensation to St Mirren to get Goodwin. If they relieve him of his duties now, which looks inevitable, they have to pay him compensation. To pay compensation to Stephen Glass. To pay compensation to Derek McInnes. That is knocking on for £2 million.
Yeah, we saw pictures earlier on of Dave Cormack in the ground. Stuart Kettlewell was away doing television duties, but you've got a goal there at Den, Stuart.
Yeah, we have, Kenny. It's for the home side. Dundee have taken the lead, and I have to say, no more than they deserve. They've had the opportunities in the game. It was terrific play down the left-hand side from Alex Jakubiak. He brought out a really good stop from Callum Ferry yet again, but the ball ricocheted to about 16-17 yards out, and it was the other substitute, Ben Williamson, who stepped on side-footed and crashed it in off the underside of the bar. Really good goal for Dundee, and they're well on top on this one.
Leanne, who, I ask you this on a regular basis, favourites for that title, which we saw a great performance again from Ayr United last night. You were at the game.
They were brilliant, and I think it's going to be a cracker this Friday night coming, Queen's Park against Ayr. That could very well give us an indication of who might fare the best in this second half of the season, but there's still so much to be played for, and I think when you look at performances, even like Aki's, results today, I think that would be four games now, 4 good results that John Rankin's put together.
It's 2, Kenny. It's 2 for Dundee. Terrific work down the right-hand side from Paul McMullen, who's been a menace all day. And it's that other substitute, Alex Jakubiak, ghosting into the back post. I actually think he chests it into the goal. But nonetheless, wonderful goal. Dundee 2 up now.
Yeah, change for Hibs. Lewis Miller on. And McCurdy, who I've got to say, this has definitely been his best performance since he signed for Hibs. He's come off, he looked absolutely shattered.
Dundee will have a huge say.
Yeah.
And they'll motor. They'll continue to motor as well. The question will be, can Queens and Ayr keep up the consistent form that they've shown throughout the season? But it was brilliant. What a game last night. Excellent goals. Josh Mullen was outstanding.
Kelty Hearts have equalised away to Montrose. Reece Peggy with the goal there in 73 minutes.
Oh, here we go. Nisbet's through. There is no one, and I mean no one near him. 4-0. 4-0. Aberdeen. Shambles.
Isn't it?
Absolute. They've got a free kick. They push people into the box. Hibs break away. It's a lovely touch by Johan. The ball through to Nisbet. He has run 50 yards with no one near him. Absolutely no one. Out comes Lewis and he knocks it by him. Wow. Aberdeen are horrific. Hibs brilliant.
Alan, I know you can get done in the counter when you're pushing to try and get back in the game, but Aberdeen had one player within sight of the halfway line, I think, and Kevin Nisbet had 10-12 yards on his own to receive the ball on the opposite side of the halfway line. The shape out of possession from Aberdeen is non-existent.
Yeah, and does it look as if the players have then chopped it?
They don't have a clue, Derek, is how I would sum it up, and I'm not putting that on Jim as a manager, because I know at times it's tough when you deliver a message through the week and you ask players to go and execute a game plan, and as I said it earlier on, they're making it up. It's the basics of football. It's the basics of defending. You lose the ball, your transition to defend, you've got to be bang at it. And there just looks to me there's so much dysfunction within the team, it's incredible.
Well, we'll hear from Jim Goodwin after the game. I know it took him a long time to come out. I think about an hour actually after the game down at Darvel on Monday night, but he will have to come out and face up to the media. It'd be great.
This is not done yet, Kenny. Honestly, this is not done yet. The way Hibs are, Hibs have got a bit about them today. Really.
Every time I look up, Alan, I'm just seeing a Hibs attack.
They've been brilliant, honestly. And if one set of players is fighting for their manager, it's Hibs. And if one set of players is chucked it, it's Aberdeen. They've lost 9 goals in Edinburgh in the last couple of days, or couple of weeks. Kenny to Darvel, just terrific.
Kenny, that's why I was saying earlier, I don't think the statement helps from the chairman. I just think it heaps a bit of pressure. It gives the players an opportunity, maybe be down tools.
I don't think so. I think that would be a cop out if any of the players said
and that's
that.
Sometimes what players do. They want to cop out.
Yeah, but
what a goal that is for a Broth. I should speak to you more, Tom. That's the best. That's the best bit of football this afternoon. That was absolutely. It's McKenna. He's not right. He struck it for about, I think it's 35 yards on the half volley, and it's just straight into the top right-hand corner. Absolute beauty.
I tell you, that's a worry for Cove Rangers, who got thumped last night. Amonaki's winning, Arbroath winning. I mean, it's been a dreadful return so far for Paul Hartley.
Well, he's conceded 6, then he's conceded 2, then he's conceded 5. And with new players in the team last night, it's very uncomfortable.
What I found interesting, Tom, last night listening to it, they removed the manager from the position because they didn't think that it was going well enough. They've brought in Paul Hartley, who's already brought in 6 new additions in a January transfer window, and last night he alluded to the fact that he would be looking to bring in more players. I don't know what team is having a full overhaul in January. Do you know? I thought surely removing the manager is where you're looking and you hope that solves that problem, is that the manager comes in and gets a tune out of the players that are already there.
But Jim McIntyre was beginning to get a bit of a chance. The results weren't great, but the results were improving.
Well, we listened to the interview, didn't we?
Prior to the thumping by Inverness Cali Thistle, they've been in a decent run of form, and he felt he was on target to meet his target of keeping them up.
Yeah, and it looked like it. Okay, a couple of standout poor performances there, but some good ones as well, and some good victories, good battling performances. But okay, they got a draw.
It's quite clear that the media manager has to go. The impact. You talk about an impact.
He'll be listening, I'm sure. He'll be listening.
Just a little update from Ibrox, Kenny. There's been a treble substitution. Morelos, Tillman and Ryan Kent have went off, and on has come Scott Wright Yanis Hadji and Cholak. Great to see Hadji back, I must say. He looks very similar to Scott Wright as well. I couldn't tell them apart. Similar hairstyle, similar height, but it's great to see Yanis Hadji back. And it's not often you see Ryan Kent coming off the pitch, which, you know, takes you back to what Stephen Craigan was saying not so long ago. You know, competition for places will start to heat up for Rangers, but Stevie May's on for St Johnstone as well, but I just don't see any way back for the visitors.
A good news story for Hibs. 2 young kids, Oscar McIntyre's come on, and more importantly Gary O'Connor's son Josh O'Connor, who's been scoring goals for fun in the 18s, he's on for Hibs, who lead 4-0.
And their 18s team is pretty good.
Yeah, they've got Borussia Dortmund during the week in the Champions League. Duke has been booked for a free kick on Fish. As a kick at him, referee books him.
FC Edinburgh back in it against Falkirk. Uzi Z with a goal there on 74 minutes. Montrose back in front against Celtic Hearts. Craig Brown with a goal there in 76. It's now Montrose 3, Celtic Hearts 2. That's you right up to date with all the scorelines. Yep.
Can I just ask the guy, what do you think Jim Goodwin's going to say at the end of the game? Does he give a team talk? Does he not give a team talk? How does he approach that? Given the nature of the result, the nature of the statement, what do you even do? What do you say?
I think he comes out and says, my heart is still in it, I still believe, etc, etc.
No, I mean within the changing room.
I think he.
I would imagine he shakes your hands and wishes them all the best, because
do you think so, Chris?
Listen, he knows himself. The statement said it all, and Dave Cormack said he looked him in the eye and said he was still up for the fight. Basically, had one more chance, Roy.
Would you shake the players' hands, Craigs, after a performance like that?
Well, I was trying to be polite. Absolutely not. No, you'd be out as quick as you could go.
But he's not going to resign. He'll have to be sacked because he'll get his compensation and stuff. But I think he'll go through the motions. In terms of our interviews, I think he'll go through the motions. I would imagine he would.
Does he call out the players in the interview?
He's got nothing to lose.
He's got nothing to lose now.
Yeah, nothing to lose. Yeah, but he's got nothing to gain, Alan, really.
I get that. No, he won't call out the players, but I'm just saying, you know, he'd maybe tell you exactly how he feels, because as a manager, and when someone sticks a mic under you at the end of a game, you know, you've got to be political at times.
I meant more within the changing room. I don't even know if he goes in. I don't know if he'll go in.
I don't know. Does he call out the players? Actually, in hindsight, I don't think he does.
No. An equaliser for Inverness here at Starts Park, and it's Billy Mackay. Sean Welsh whips in a out-swinging corner, free kick, with his right foot. Billy Mackay, who isn't the biggest, in a back four of giants, he finds 4 or 5 yards of space, as he always does, and he flicks a header down into the bottom right-hand side of Jamie McDonald's goal. Fantastic header, in 2-2 at Starts Park.
Thanks, Chris. Do you know what, Alan? We just watched the free kick coming in there. It just sums up the performance from Aberdeen. Tame free kick, right into the wall, easily cleared.
Honestly, it's just... Well, you've got Hibs. Hibs have now got young kids on that are running about, as you can imagine, closing everyone down. Hibs are all over Aberdeen. Aberdeen are and such a great club, a brilliant club, and I feel sorry for Willie sitting in front of me, I really do, because a lot of Hibs fans are turning round and having a look at him and laughing and joking and saying Willie should be playing in the first team at the moment, and that's maybe taking a bit too far, but certainly, you know, it's a difficult situation for everyone involved with Aberdeen, and credit to the fans, still some here.
Yeah, they need defenders, they need leadership, they need results, but it's all too late now for Jim Goodwin. Your line dropped off, Stephen Craigan, you're back with us. What's been happening in Paisley?
Well, you know, not an awful lot of them, being honest, you know, particularly from a Motherwell perspective. You know, they need to force the game, they need to try and get men forward. Stevie Hamlin made a couple of substitutions, Ross Tierney come on, Ollie Crankshaw come on, but you know, the pattern of the game is what you expect when you watch St Mirren, that they're difficult to play against when they get ahead and they're trying to suffocate the game.
That's it done. That's it done at Dens Park now, Kenny. It's 3-0. Looks as if it may be an own goal. Struggling to see who it comes off, but it's walked down the left-hand side from Jakubiak again, flashed across the 6-yard box, and I think the final touch may come off Fox, the centre-back for Queen's Park. Terrific win this will be for Dundee. Dundee 3, Queen's Park 0.
Thanks, Stuart. Yeah, very convincing win. I think we're expecting a tight game up there at Dens, but it's not been the case. They missed an early penalty, but they've cruised so far the home side there against the league leaders, Queen's Park. So just waiting 10 minutes or so to go in the games this afternoon, and the home side absolutely cruising up there in Dingwall. John Robertson.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's been such an entertaining game for two teams down the bottom, as I said so far, Kenny, but there are lots of the substitutions you imagine. Kilmarnock are playing with 3 strikers up front. Dodge is on, Lafferty's on. They're playing up front with Vassell. County have replaced their 2 strikers. Alec Samuels come on, and young Josh Stones, who's up on loan from Wigan, has come on as well, who's quite a big lad for only being 17. So County are cruising in now. There's 6 minutes to go. I said it all changed for me. That scoop missed chance from Scott Robinson right at half time could have put Killian level, but County have run away with it in the second half.
Certainly have. Annan running away with it 3-0 up against East Fife. Max Killsby with the latest goal there on 85 minutes. I'm getting it tight on Twitter, Tom English, just in terms of quoting a referee last week with the penalty decision that Celtic got. A lot of Celtic fans getting in touch, says your referee been in touch this afternoon. A lot of referees obviously working this afternoon, but are you guys decided at all on the Ryan Jack red card? Michael Stewart messaged me to say it was a definite red.
Yeah, I thought it was a red.
Could have been a red.
Could have been a red, yeah.
I think if you look for consistency across that game in that 90 minutes of football without comparing it to other challenges this season, for me the Clark red card and the Ryan Jack red card tick as many boxes, not the same boxes.
Yeah.
I think there's differences in the challenges, but I think if you go red card for Nicky Clark, you have to go red card for Ryan Jack.
It's been sent to me, Kenny, but I can't get a look at it. It's so frustrating. It just keeps buffering. So I've still not had a second look at it. But
and we didn't get a great look in here. And just when we got the replay, I said that the screen did go blank in here. That third goal for Dundee, credit to Ryan Sweeney on 83 minutes. We're going to get reaction, Tom, from Easter Road post-match. I mean, if it was Dave Cormack that were out in a limb, some people suggesting that in terms of keeping Jim Goodwin, giving him that stay at the club is a highly embarrassing. Actually, the chap that was on earlier from the ABZ podcast said the club are an embarrassment, a laughing stock right now.
Well, they are. This is another laughing stock performance. On top of Darvel, on top of the 5-0 against Hearts, on top of everything else, the performances on the road are mortifying and have been for a long time. The performances generally have been pretty mortifying for a club of their size, with their budget. Since Dave Cormack took over, he does a lot, as we said beforehand. He does a lot of good things at the club. It's in his bones, Aberdeen Football Club. But the amount of mistakes that they're making there, recruitment and everything else, is shocking. And the chickens are coming home to roost here. They are a mess. They are an embarrassment.
The joint worst defensive record in the league now. Level with Kilmarnock.
There you go. Second worst, and now they're so they've achieved something today.
Let's get to Amy Canavan, Partick Thistle. Any sign of a fight back from the home side there, Amy?
Yeah, the fight back was from the minute that Aki scored, Kenny. Honestly, the plethora of chances that Partick have had either side of the goal, it is a total counter-attack against the run of play. All your cliches there, all your football cliches, they totally apply to this game. Aki's have defended so resolutely, though. They had another opportunity on another counter-attack actually with Jean-Pierre Tihi. It just looked like he ran out of puff really by the time that he got into the box, and they couldn't get the pace, the power in the shot, and it was a rather simple save in the end for Jamie Snedden, thankfully for him. But Partick are still pressing hard, pressing high. All the action is down that end, but it does remain Partick Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 1. And when I go and speak to John Rankin, he's going to be gutted yet again that Arbroath look to be pulling off another one.
Yeah, that will be the big disappointment for him this afternoon. Derek, we've only got a few minutes left before the final whistle, so give us a laugh. You must have a great story. You played some of the managers you played under, the Rants.
I've got absolutely nothing to tell you, I'm afraid, Ken. No, the only one I can say, well, there's a few, but John Lambie, when I was at Thistle, absolutely, he used to give it to you absolutely after the game, but he took it one step further. We were in the shower area, getting washed, and he came.
Oh, it has to be a penalty! Surely, and it is for Hibs. Horrendous defending by Scales. Wait till you see this. And it's young O'Connor. He's the wrong side of him.
Dreadful.
You got me out of jail there, Biscuits.
O'Connor is wanting to take it. Young O'Connor wants to take it. Please let him take it.
Scales has been a poor signing, hasn't he?
Campbell's on a hat-trick, but that's been a dreadful defending. And it's a red card for Scales. Second yellow. He is off. Campbell's got a chance of getting a hat-trick. Great play. Really was good play by the youngster. Should never have been in that position. Scales got himself the wrong side of the ball, pulls the young kid down. A chance for 5-0 and a hat-trick for Campbell. Horrific defending by Aberdeen.
It's almost biblical, this malaise. It's I need to look up a thesaurus.
There's a fan on the pitch, a wee kid on the pitch. A kid's ran on the pitch and is running all the way from one side of stadium to the next, and he runs up. I think he's just a young kid. I think he's got up to Kevin Nisbet, and he's now got to run off. Stewards are to try and
How
get him.
long's left, Alan? How long's left?
3 minutes. Young boy's jumped the fence, but he's been caught by the stewards, I'm afraid, that the fans aren't happy. Just a young boy. Just went up to Kevin Nisbet. Penalty still to be taken here. Chance for Campbell. Hibs have been brilliant. Take nothing away from Hibs.
It's important to
They
mention
have
that,
been
Alan.
magnificent from start to finish. Really, really good. Clinical up front. Defensively looks solid. And there's a chance here for Campbell to get his 3rd goal and Hibernian's 5th goal. Comes up, rolls it in the back of the net. 5-0 Hibernian.
Well, very, very cool from the penalty spot there. Well, we'll get all the reaction on Sports Sound.
This would have been game, set, and match. Kenny, it's the goal scorer. He's scalped one in from 30 yards or so, and he just missed one from about 7-8 yards out. It was laid in a plate for him as well. All he had to do, it was Adwaka again, just lays it on a plate for McKenna. All he has to do is just lift over the keeper. It's a decent save at the end up, but that should have been it done and dusted. But it still remains Morton 1, Arbroath 2.
And in no way does 5-0 flatter Hibs.
No, they've been brilliant.
In no way. They're absolutely deserving of 5-0, and if it was 6, I'd say they deserve to be 6-0 ahead. They're that dominant.
That's how you react to a defeat in a derby. And that's how you react when your manager's under pressure.
Where are the boos? Is that from Easter Road? I've seen a lot of Aberdeen fans putting it. No,
still a lot of
the
Aberdeen
boos
fans
are out for Hill. It's just the sheer frustration from the fans. They are calling for they've been calling for penalties, they've been calling for red cards, they've certainly been calling for everything. I think it's now a combination of their size, lack of clinical edge, as well as I think Ross Docherty, is it just below me here? Yeah, Ross Docherty is just taking a little bit of a slow one. They do have the free kick, Partick Thistle, but he's departed the pitch right now, and it appears he's holding his face or his shoulder of some kind. But yeah, it's all at for Hill.
5-0. I still can't. Like I say, I can't believe it. I actually can believe it.
Do you know what's a shame as well, Tom, is that actually for Lee Johnson, he will be delighted that his team have responded today. But I think managers now, they get how cutthroat the game is, and I don't think you can enjoy a result like that knowing the pressure that then intensifies in Jim Goodwin.
I think he'll enjoy it all right.
Do you think so? I don't know. No, I don't think so.
5-0.
Give it another.
When he was desperate for a result.
Maybe, but you give it a couple of games and Lee Johnson could be back in the same position that he is today.
That's why he will revel in this. I mean, he's not going to rub Jim Goodwin's nose in it, but he should be immensely proud of his team, and he should be saying, right, this kind of standard, this is what I want to see. This is the level we want to see. Because I think they've been brilliant. They look a totally different team. In adversity, they've produced a really, really meaty, classy performance. And adversity, Aberdeen have run out the door.
Remy Matthews, fantastic save there. The ball fell to Yanis Hadji on the edge of the box, and he twisted and turned and played a great ball to Sakala, who shot and it took a nick off the defender. His whole body was moving one way, Matthews, and he gets down to his corner, flicks it around the post.
Dingwall, County 3, Kelly 0.
Thanks, Sean. Full-time Annan 3, East 5-0. Full-time Stirling Albion 1, Stranraer 0.
Full-time at Starks Park, Kenny. Great Rovers 2, Inverness 2.
Thanks, Chris. I know you've spoken about it before, actually, Rory, been out for a long time injured. What's it like when you've been out for so long? It's your first game back. It must be a very, obviously, an exciting moment, also a very nervy time.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. You wait so long, and it's
6-0!
Oh, no.
Incredible! Fish! Ball in the back post, header back across into the back of the net. 6-0 Hibernian.
Oh, and almost an equaliser here from Motherwell right in the death of the game. Ollie Cranshaw down the left-hand side, stood the ball up. St Mirren didn't get it clear. McKinstry had the shot. Trevor Carson saved it. Deflection edge of the box. St Mirren eventually get it away. It may just be too late for Motherwell. Still 1-0 home to the home side.
Full time at Dens, Kenny, 3-0.
Thanks. Tom, you speak, please.
It's a free header at the back post.
Free header, it's a great header. Another brilliant header. But a free header, nobody's picking him up. Nobody's bothered.
Full time at Thurhill.
Wow.
That's a big shock there, thanks Amy. So Partick Thistle go down 1-0 at defeat at home to Hamilton Accies. What a result there for the bottom side. Arbroath also winning this afternoon away at Morton in the championship there. 2-1 there, ahead deep into full time. So I mean, Willie Miller's in commentary. So we've not heard from Willie.
Leader smelling salts and a stretcher for the legend.
But you know what I saw? I saw him standing next to Leanne on Monday night, and you could see how much he was hurting. You know, a club he loves, a club he's got great pride in, the defending standards, the attitude of the players, the lack of leadership. You know, I mean, it's just dreadful. We'll get Willie's thoughts.
Full time, Kenny. Morton won, Arbroath 2.
Huge win for Dick Campbell's side there. They were fancied by some, including myself, actually, to get a result in the Cup last weekend. They didn't. Motherwell prevailed there, but that's a big win for them in the league this afternoon, beating Morton away from home. So just waiting on the full-time score.
That was brilliant. Wait till you see this at Easter Road.
That's outstanding.
Duke comes through. Marshall comes racing from his line. It's a 50-50. The two of them go in. The ball breaks behind Marshall. He just runs and leathers it, and I mean leathers it out for a corner.
It's one of those Peter Kay jobs, isn't it? One of those ads.
Cheap corner to give away, Alan, though, is it not?
It is. But it is. It's a let's have it moment.
Just kick it the way you're facing.
A late equaliser for Kelty Hearts. Nathan Austin in the 93rd minute. Montrose 3, Kelty Hearts 3. Stenhousemuir have scored right at the death to, looks like Sela 2-0 win over Elgin City. Michael Anderson in the 93rd minute there. That's you right up to date with all the score lines. That's now a full-time score. Montrose 3, Kelty Hearts 3.
Full time at Easter Road. Hibernian 6, Aberdeen 0.
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting watching the reaction. I think we're all, I don't think any of us can believe it. We've seen the pictures, Tom, the touchline there, Jim Goodwin. And it was really interesting for me as well, the Monday night. See, when he did his post-match interview, his eyes were down. He looked a beaten man to me that night. I know he's a fighter, Jim, but he looked a beaten man to me that night. Perhaps he looked down his dressing room and thought, these guys are not going to get me out of this.
Yeah. No, well, we said it beforehand that these players were incapable of digging him out of a hole. And they're showing it today. He's just not good enough. To be honest, I thought when Dave Cormack appointed him, I thought that was a good appointment. I thought Jim Goodwin was a good fit.
Very few people had any doubts over that.
I thought it was a good fit, but the recruitment has been horrendous. His management has been completely substandard. This club is in a state. The management is only part of it. There's bigger issues, as we said earlier on in the day, but it's
Malky Mackay and his players.
It's out of control now.
Full time here at St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0.
Yeah, St Mirren get that home record is absolutely tremendous. The last side to beat them there in the league, Motherwell, that was in the opening day of the season. St Mirren get their revenge this afternoon. Curtis Main with the goal there after 60 minutes. That's a terrific result for Stephen Robinson's side. They go back into the top 6, level on points with St Mirren. With Hibs, they've got a game in hand on the Easter Road side. So we're just waiting, Rory, and you guys finishing up there at Ibrox.
Yes, indeed. Scott Wright comes forward, plays it to Hadji, who's down. Oh, he tries to play it across. He's had a lot of the ball, Hadji, since he's come on, actually. He's been booked as well. It was Daniel Phillips who caught him late. You know, it was a poor challenge, and Daniel Phillips got booked for it, quite rightly so. But given he's just back from injury, Yanis Hadji really wasn't happy about it and started having a pop at Willie Collum and get booked himself. But he's looked lively since he's come on, and he's done well, feeling his way back in. But it's been one-way traffic for the majority of the game, I must say, Kenny. Rangers deservedly 2-0 up.
Yeah, they had that chance, didn't they? Right in the stroke of half-time. It was a great move, and was it Matty Kennedy, wasn't it, that just Dre Wright missed his shot there just before the break. That was their chance. We're just seeing replays of the goals coming in, plenty of goals coming in from Easter Road, just every single one. Shocking defending, Tom, by the wayside.
Yeah, a brilliant performance from Hibs. You know, a lot of the attention here will be on Aberdeen because they will be looking for a new manager right now. So a lot of the attention with the drama of the day will be on Jim Goodwin, almost certainly losing his job. You'd have to say that. Even the Football Monitoring Board wouldn't come up with anything other than sacking. But Hibs deserve huge praise. I thought they were excellent. They were really, really excellent. They were not just did they show all the right spirit and heart and all the rest of it, but the quality of some of their football was top notch. Mm-hmm. And they were everything that Aberdeen weren't. And I know they were playing in front of their own crowd, but that crowd could have turned if they didn't put in a good performance. They started well. They were brilliant throughout the day, took their chances really well, and made a really bad team look bad, and then some. So well done to.
And that's the Hibs side without their leader. And Porteous is a huge player for
Porteous
Hibs.
gone. Think of the week that they've had. You know, Porteous is gone. They think Nisbet is about to go. Rocky Bashiri is ruled out for 3 months. You know, as a week they've been all over the place, and yet they come out and they show the character and the quality to win 6-0 under pressure. 6-0, going on 7. If it was 8, I don't think anyone would have batted an eyelid. They've humiliated Aberdeen, but then Aberdeen are humiliated quite often these days. I know Darvel was probably out on its own, but 6-0. I'm not saying it's as embarrassing as the Darvel one, but it's not far off it.
Full time at Ibrox. Rangers 2, St Johnstone 0.
Thanks, Rory. So, convincing win for the home side there at Ibrox. As we promised, it's been a dramatic afternoon in Scottish football. All the reaction to come between now and 6 o'clock on Sports Sound.
Football.